A1 Grand Prix has gone down under to Sydney, Australia. That hasn't stopped the French coming out on top again with 4 race wins from 6. Team France, with Nicolas Lapierre in the driving seat, are looking invincible.
So Team France is going to make it the double victory here at the Euro Speedway. And here in Portugal, it's Alex Premat who takes the 2 wins, 2 victories and the fastest lap. It's a perfect score for France.
The question now is who out of the chasing pack can catch them? It's round 4 of the A1 Grand Prix series from Sydney, Australia. The stage is set at Eastern Creek for race day. The sprint coming away at 2:30 this morning. The feature race follows, of course. That's at 4 a.m. Hi there, 3 races in, and A1 Grand Prix has left behind the comfort zones of Europe and ventured further afield this weekend to Sydney, Australia. It's been no mean feat getting all 50 cars to Eastern Creek from Portugal. It's taken 3 Boeing 747s to do the job. But cars, teams and drivers are here, ready to go head-to-head once more in the World Cup of Motorsport. Joining me to run the rule over race day, series analyst and Formula 1 test driver Andy Prix and Sky Sports' Keith Hewen. Andy, first of all, let's talk about qualifying yesterday. France went quickest, as we saw. Are they the team to beat this weekend?
They are pretty quick. They've saved their tyres. They were at the top of their game. Everything was happening really not easily, but they really were performing well. I'm really impressed with Parente. He's looking really quick, and Yanni's very consistent. So it's not going to be easy for him, but I think he's the man that can do the job this weekend.
Keith, Andy picking up there on Alvaro Parente, who really put himself in contention for Team Portugal, didn't he, yesterday?
Yeah, he's flying. I think that the Team Portugal need to get a result this weekend as well. They need to try and pull something out of the bag special. But I don't think you can ignore Neil Gianni. I had some money on him yesterday, and I still feel, Andy, that Neil Gianni can do it from the back. But this track is going to be one of the monsters to pass on for the entire year.
It's going to be very tough to overtake. It's going to be very easy to make a mistake. It's quick, it's bumpy, it's got everything that you don't want on a racing circuit, really, narrow.
And we saw quite a lot of difference in the way they got the cars set yesterday during qualifying. I mean, I wonder if they've done anything about warm-up. We were looking at the warm-up stuff before we came on air, time-wise, and quite a lot of differential. Some of the cars didn't look that happy out on that racetrack yesterday.
Warm-up's always a strange situation. You don't want to damage the car before the race. You really want to just have a good run, make sure everything's okay, try it with a high fuel load and just go from there. But you know, it's also nice psychologically to actually try and get a good time, get a good lap time and put it in the bag.
Well, let's take a bit of a look at what did happen in qualifying yesterday. These are some shots from what was taking place. And first up, Alvaro Parente, who we have been talking about, Keith.
The commitment here, I saw this lap, that bump really does destabilise the car into this right-hand turn. But look at this. I mean, I know, Andy, you were impressed yesterday with the way, right out to the very edge of the racetrack. Commitment, 100%, I think 110% even.
Yeah, absolutely. He's driving really, really well. He's very confident. Nelson Piquet, mind you, is having a bit of a harder time this weekend. I'm interested to see how well he goes in the race today.
Second row of the grid, though, for Piquet, and still looking fairly good. He'll start behind Alvaro Parente on the grid, so he'll be hoping that Parente gets off the line nice and swiftly. Well, what can we say about Nicolas Lapierre? I mean, the Dams team, they run a damn good team, for want of the pun, and you can see the way this car's settled on this racetrack. Out of all the teams, I still think that the French have got this car working the best of the lot of them.
Absolutely, both drivers as well, driving really well. They've got a lot of in-house rivalry going on. They both want to perform, both want to win. So.
Well, this is how they finished in qualifying, how they'll line up for the sprint race today. Nicolas Lapierre in France on pole, from Alvaro Parente of Portugal. Neil Gianni of Switzerland lines up in 3rd. Brazil in 4th. Team GBR and Robbie Kerr in 5th. Team Ireland and Michael Devaney in 6th. Canada and Sean McIntosh in 7th. Jos Verstappen in the Netherlands drive 8th. Malaysia and Alex Young 9th. And Salvador Duran, driving for Team Mexico, will line up in 10th spot. OK, time now to go trackside and join our pit lane reporter Lee McKenzie with the very latest ahead of race day.
Thanks very much. Well, hello. It's a very muggy day here at Eastern Creek. There's a few clouds hanging around now and lots of these very annoying flies, so I think I'll be swiping a few of them away in the next few minutes. The crowd is packing in to see the local team here, Team Australia, and Will Davidson, who's qualified in 13th position. But the man who's hoping to spoil the party is Frenchman Nicolas Lapierre, who's qualified on pole. Lots of flies. You'll be going too quick to notice them. It was a very dominant performance for you in qualifying yesterday. You didn't even need to go out for the last sector.
Yeah, it was very good because we had two first qualifying which were very, very fast. So then we just had to watch the third and the fourth. We went on the third one and just did one lap on the fourth, so we saved tires for this afternoon, so it's a good situation.
This isn't the easiest track. It's a big bonus to be starting at the front. There's a lot of times just one line through some of these corners, and it's not that easy to overtake. Pole position is really crucial at Eastern Creek.
Yeah, it's very important, but I think there will be a lot of action during the race because the track is very bumpy. It's very easy to do mistakes. So, and the first corner is so difficult. It's very fast corner with a big bump in the middle. So I think we should see overtaking this afternoon.
Is this a circuit that you like?
Yeah, it's very nice. I mean, it's very exciting to drive here. A lot of fast corner. It's going up and down. It's very nice here.
And what about any pressure? France have had 4 out of the last 4 races. That's a fantastic survey. Some amazing stunt driving going on behind us if you wonder what the noise is. Is there any pressure from you or on you from the team to try and make this 6 from 6?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we won the last 4 races. We are leading the championship, so we are not allowed to do any mistakes. So, we won't do our best, but we are on pole position. We have good tires, so I think it will be all right.
Nicolas, thanks very much. Best of luck for this afternoon. Well, there's another big battle going on further down the field with Australia and New Zealand qualifying alongside each other, 13th and 14th respectively. As you can imagine, that's really being hyped up over here. And I think we can expect plenty of Aussie charm and cheers from the big crowd here at Eastern Creek.
Lee, thank you. So teams and drivers putting the finishing touches in place ahead of race day. Before cars take to the track, here's a breakdown with Ben Edwards of the Eastern Creek circuit.
A1 Grand Prix has left Europe and travelled to the other side of the globe. The 4th event takes place at Eastern Creek, a half-hour drive from central Sydney. And we've gone from autumn to early southern hemisphere summer. The team's temperature gauges have leapt up the scale as the sizzling Aussie sun bears down on the track. But where there's heat, there's always the threat of thunderstorms as well. And the weather's been changeable so far this week. The track nestles in the outer suburbs of Sydney, close to Parramatta. The lap begins with a good length of straight leading into the fastest first corner the series has seen so far, followed by a tight turn 2, which offers some potential for overtaking. The grandstand looks across the main straight towards the pits and to the right towards that daunting first corner. Cars will be travelling at around 170 miles per hour at the end of the straight. It's flat out at turn 1 and then into turn 2, where late braking is the order of the day, but if you overcommit you'll end up scrabbling for grip on the sun-baked dirt on the outside. Around the middle section of the track comes a sequence of corners from the kink into the second gear turn 7. The cars accelerate into a blind left-hander and then into a downhill braking zone for turn 9. The view from outside turn 8 shows a corner where the drivers will try to carry the speed. But watch out, braking for the right-handed turn 9 hairpin will be tricky. And yet a clean line and a fast exit here is crucial. Higher curbs than at some circuits could knock a careless driver offline, and the outer edge of the track gives very little leeway before the grass looms up. From there we're into the final sequence, turns 10, 11 and 12, which have to be considered together for a good run onto the straight, and where the braking is done partially on a curve. Making a straight line on the approach means using plenty of curb, and there's no space for 2 cars to be side by side here. In the dry, the last turn must be kept tight. If it rains, watch for a trajectory out by the white line. But all that really counts is a fast exit and the ability to carry that speed over the line for what the driver hopes is another demon lap of the Eastern Creek Raceway.
So drivers charged with the challenge of successfully negotiating the Eastern Creek circuit. We're taking a short break. When we come back, they'll get their first chances to impress in the sprint race.
They're unbeaten in 40 games. For United, 8 times Premiership champions, it's a must-win.
Absolutely brilliant. He scores. What drama.
It's world class. The big one. Man United Chelsea. Ford Super Sunday, tomorrow at 3, Sky Sports 1.
The BMW 1 Series, with keyless entry and exit. Every one is full of surprises.
Make great savings when you buy AOL Broadband and Talk together. Get unlimited time online, plus unlimited local and national phone calls.
Everyone is going.
I love it when they do that.
To Hogwarts' biggest event.
Tri-Wizard Tournament.
It's time to dress up.
It's completely mental.
Bring a friend. And join in the celebration of the year.
Excellent!
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Mr. Weasley, place your right hand on my waist.
What?
And the rhythm of life is a powerful beat. Put a tingle in your fingers and a tingle in your feet. Rhythm in your bedroom, rhythm in the street. Yes, the rhythm of life is a powerful beat. Flip your wings and fly to your daddy. Take a dive and swim to your daddy. Hit the floor and rock you, daddy. Baby's got the rhythm of life.
Greg, we're going to get some pills for the weekend. You in?
It's decision time. Greg, do you say yes? You agree to an E, put it to the test and hope for the best? Or do you say no? What's the use? Find an excuse. You decide.
Under pressure to do drugs? Talk to Frank.
They were warriors who fought for their faith, but died deceived. This was the epic struggle of devotion and deception. They were promised heaven, but found themselves in hell. The Crusades starts tomorrow on the History Channel.
دیگه از من چی میخوای؟ من دوست دارم مرا.
Both away, Beethoven.
Thanks for the lift. Ow! Like, whoa!
Watch it, dog. Shut up!
Oh, and another one.
Biggie, no!
iTunes in your phone, baby.
Hello, Moto.
It's a fight between good and evil. Your fate and that of the world lies in the hands of one person.
Hiya. I'm looking for the man with the pointy ears.
Oh, right. Do you mean Kevin?
No, he's a superhero.
Yeah, okay.
He's climbing. Oh, I'm always climbing buildings, me. I'm like...
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Thanks.
Get the right game this Christmas. Send your mum to Game Station. Plus, till 5:30 Saturday, November 12th, you can save £18 on our Steal of the Week, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Welcome back to Sydney, Australia for the fourth meeting in the A1 Grand Prix calendar. The sprint race is due to get underway shortly. Teams taking to the grid and ready for the first race of the day. We are, of course, just 3 races old in this 12-race series, so all to compete for this afternoon. Let's go trackside. We'll be hearing from our pit lane reporters, Lee McKenzie and Gareth Jones. First, though, we'll join our commentators John Watson and Ben Edwards for the opening ceremony.
minutes ago. The pomp and ceremony began as the drivers were presented to the spectators, and it all started off with some Aboriginal dancers coming out onto the circuit and performing, and then we had a modern Australian dance troupe as well coming out. So there's sort of two sides of Australian culture, if you like. We had some fun displays as the drivers then came out, presented, not this time in sports cars, which is what we've seen on recent occasions, John, but here in Australia in boats.
Yes, these are surf boats, very, very popular here in Australia. Just go down to Bondi Beach. It is wonderful.
Well, yes, I think everybody here enjoying themselves. Many of the drivers, of course, arriving quite early on to get acclimatised to the time zone difference. So they've been enjoying some of the sights and sounds of Sydney and other parts of Australia, but now they're focused on the task in hand this weekend, which is to perform in the two races, the sprint race and the feature race. France and Portugal are the top two on the grid, and they therefore will have the clear run into the first corner, but it'll be a very interesting first corner. It is a very quick corner, there's no braking required for it, but it is bumpy too, and for anybody who tries to go around the outside and really challenge side by side, and then they could get into a little bit of trouble over those bumps. That's something that we've got to watch out for.
Yes, also if you get very wide on the outside of turn 2, getting off track is very easy, and we saw a number of drivers do so in practice, and not even in practice, in qualifying, and therefore it is a big handicap.
So time to take a detailed look at the grid for the first race of the day. Sprint race to be held over 20 laps, beginning with a rolling start. On pole for the second time this year is France, series leaders, seeking win number 5. Portugal second, their best grid spot so far. Switzerland third, and then Brazil in fourth place. Piquet has some work to do. Great Britain in fifth place, just ahead of Ireland. And then we've got Canada, Sean McIntosh, great effort, just ahead of the Netherlands, Jos Verstappen. Then it's Malaysia and Mexico. Malaysia were held up by Mexico in qualifying. Italy and Germany are on row 6. On row 7, Australia versus New Zealand, a wonderful private battle. South Africa and the Czech Republic on row 8, then Pakistan and Russia on row 9. They're followed by Japan and China, and then Lebanon and USA. Brian Herter driving for the first time for the American team, then Matthias Lauda for Austria and Armin Ibrahim for India, bringing up the rear of the grid. No Indonesian entry this weekend. The driver committed elsewhere, a programme that was organised before he got the call to race in A1. That's how they line up then, and for Lebanon, and for the fans of Lebanon, they've actually got their best grid spot so far, John.
And indeed, they should be very happy with it. In fact, they were very proud because they actually finished up one position ahead of Team USA with Brian Herter. First race for Brian Herter in A1GP, but nevertheless, a real, I was going to say feather, maybe a cedar leaf in the cap of Team Lebanon.
Well, we know who's on pole position. It's Nicolas Lapierre. Let's hear from the man himself.
Nicolas, Team France, pole position again. Are you feeling any pressure?
I'm feeling okay. I think we have a very good car. We tried a lot of fuel during the warm-up and it was okay. And since the beginning of the season, we have always been very strong during the race. So, I mean, we have to see what happens first lap. But if the first lap is okay, then it should be all right.
Looking for 5 from 5?
Sorry?
Looking for 5 from 5?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Huh? We have to push. We are leading the championship, so we need to keep pushing for this one and for the next one. But this one is even more important because they're going to show the starting position for the next one, so we have to take care as well.
Nicolas, thanks very much.
Thank you.
So a confident Nicolas Lapierre, but we'll have to wait and see whether he can back it up in the races.
And 9. And 9.
And 9.
And
9.
8 o'clock.
And 9. What?
8 o'clock. And 9. Showtime.
With great movies at 8 and more great movies at 9 every single night. Do you 8? 8. Or do you 9?
9.
Great movies at 8 and more great movies at 9 every night on Sky Movies.
Do you remember how exciting Christmas was when you were a little kid? Then did it all get a little bit sort of samey? Not anymore. So next time you have a party, how about some crunchy gem hearts and some juicy Sainsbury's jumbo prawns and then a lovely dollop of sauce. Beautiful. Go on, try something new today. Oh wow!
PlayStation 2 and Xbox. Rated 18.
Can you dig it?
Two men of science.
Grimm's the name. 2 M's.
One world of mystery. The Brothers Grimm is visually dazzling, eye-popping fun.
The Queen has stolen your girls for their youth. She needs one more to make her spell work.
From visionary director Terry Gilliam. The Brothers Grimm.
Relationships should be rewarding. That's why we'll give you free evening calls to other Orange customers for 5 years on pay-as-you-go.
The view from beneath the grandstand roof, and you can see the grandstand's looking very, very busy here this weekend. There's been a lot of support for A1 Grand Prix. We've just spoken to New Zealand and Australia. They're 4th and 5th in the championship. 6th is Canada, and Sean McIntosh drove well yesterday in qualifying.
You did drive well in qualifying yesterday, Sean. How are you feeling now?
Pretty good. I mean, this first race, you just need to stay out of trouble and get as far ahead in the group we can. We can't afford to have a non-finish.
And in terms of the team and how the car's going and how everything's working, happy at the moment?
Yeah, very good. I mean, we struggled in the first couple of runs in qualifying because we missed the first session in practice, but that final run kind of proved what we can do, and now we just need to improve in the race. But definitely the team's doing a great job, and hopefully we can get the Team Canada car up there.
Sean, best of luck.
All right, thank you.
So Sean McIntosh there, driving for Canada. Now time for the national anthem.
Soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing. Advance Australia fair.
Well, a wonderful rendition there of the Australian national anthem, and everybody up on their feet for that one. It sets the scene here for the start of the sprint race at Eastern Creek Raceway. And are France going to dominate this one? They've been looking so strong in qualifying. Nicolas Lapierre climbing aboard his car, but just behind is Neil Yarni, driving for Team Switzerland, and he's been very consistent so far this year. He lines up in 3rd place on the grid, and remember, Switzerland currently are 3rd in the series. 2 strong podium finishes for Yarni last time.
But I think the car to watch in this 20-lap sprint race is in fact going to be Team Portugal, because since the round in Portugal Estoril 2 weeks ago, they've really leapt forward both in terms of consistency but also speed. Alvaro Parent has put the car on the front row of the grid alongside Team France, and the run down, although it's a rolling start into turn 1, it will be very close. Parent quickest this morning again in the morning warm-up. Now directly behind him is Nelson Piquet Jr., both Portuguese speakers in 4th place, and he is alongside Team Switzerland with Neil Yarni.
So Brazil have some work to do because they're running 2nd in the series at the moment, 8 points behind France. Had his dramas when he stalled on the grid for the 2nd race in Portugal, and that really knocked him back, but he still came back to finish in 8th place and score a few points. So it was a crucial fight back for Nelson Piquet Jr., but at the moment it's 4 wins to France in the series and 2 wins to Brazil. Are we going to see another country join in? Now, behind those top 4, John, we've got a very interesting battle. We've got Great Britain in 5th place and Team Ireland in 6th.
Yes, there were 2 outstanding qualifying performances, in my opinion. That was from Team Ireland with Michael Devaney in 6th place, and Sean McIntosh, Team Canada in 7th. Now, they are young drivers who are evolving up through the ranks of A1. They're not imports from other race series. 2 very significant performances.
Talking of Team Great Britain, let's hear from John Surtees.
John, we've travelled all this way, and your neighbour's Ireland. Can you believe that you're both alongside each other?
I suppose we are partners, aren't we, in a way? But we, of course, had a rather closer coming together in the first event in Portugal. But we would hope that we can perhaps put a little distance between us.
OK, John, how are things going for the race?
practice hasn't gone bad, although of course it's been changing conditions, so it's very difficult to assess. And today is much warmer than we've had to date, so it's going to be a learning curve in this one for the main one, because we're not quite certain how the tyres etc. will react, and the car generally in higher temperatures. But generally Robbie's done a good job and seems very confident, and we were 5th fastest in qualifying, so what we hope to do is build on that.
Best of luck, thank you.
Thank you.
John Surtees there, the team principal, of course, for Team Great Britain, and Robbie Kerr lining up in 5th place, as we said. Ireland in 6th position, and there we are, the Irish team with the youngster Michael Devaney at the wheel. Ralph Furman, who drove this car last time out in Portugal, busy racing in Japan this weekend, so it's the youngster who drove very well at Brands Hatch. Was a bit out of luck, he got collected, got hit at Brands, so could have perhaps scored more points there, but he starts in 6th position for this race. So let's just take another look once again at how all of these cars will be lining up, all 24 nations that will be starting the sprint race here today from its rolling start. And it is France on pole position, their fastest lap in qualifying, their 2 fastest laps added together, of course, but their best of all, some half a second quicker than anyone else. Lapierre and Parent then on the front row. Then Neil Yarney's not been feeling well, the Swiss driver. Let's hope he's feeling a bit better today. Robbie Kerr and Michael Devaney, Great Britain and Ireland next up. Then Sean McIntosh, whose individual best lap was actually 4th fastest, so he's potentially going to move up the grid. Malaysia and Mexico, followed by Italy and Germany. Then Australia and New Zealand. We heard about the rivalry there. South Africa have Steven Simpson driving for them this weekend. Thomas Enger is driving for the Czech Republic. Roman Rusinov's a new driver. He's driving for Russia. And Hayanari Shimoda for Japan. It's his debut in A1 Grand Prix. Brian Herter also making his debut in A1 Grand Prix. The very experienced Champ Car and IRL racer from the United States. A man who's got a great reputation on the road courses, but it's a huge learning curve to understand just what makes an A1 Grand Prix car tick. And there we are back on the live pictures, and Sean McIntosh, who we've already mentioned, John, a star performer in qualifying.
Yes, a very impressive performance. One other factor about this Eastern Creek Raceway is, in fact, it is the second counterclockwise circuit that we've visited out of the 4 that we've been to so far this year. Now, that doesn't make a terrible lot of difference to a driver in a short sprint race. It might make a difference in the feature race over 40 laps. But also, it's just the way a driver has to approach something that is different. And of course, the pole position is on the inside for turn 1, unlike for the feature race where it will be on the outside. The reason for that is because in this sprint race you've got a rolling start, and it would be disadvantageous to be on the right-hand side of the racetrack looking down to the first corner. The grid will be reversed when we get to that 40-lap feature race.
Malaysia and Mexico lining up in 9th and 10th places on the grid, and Salvador Duran has been an exciting, another young exciting talent to watch out for in this series. Mexico are currently lying 7th in the series on 16 points, tied in terms of points with Team Ireland, and they're just behind them on the grid, of course, a couple of places behind. Now, Italy haven't scored as well as we might have thought they would as we came into the series. They were one of the latecomers, they didn't do any testing, so Enrico Toccocello has really been learning the car throughout the race meetings. They've only picked up 4 points, and they're running down in 19th place, but they start here on the grid in 11th, and in 12th place Germany. And driving for Germany this weekend is Adrian Sutil. He took over the duties from Timo Scheider last time in Estoril, and could have been on for a possible podium finish, but remember, we had that exciting moment when Jos Verstappen took off over the back of him.
Well, apart from that, Adrian Sutil raced extremely hard, particularly in the sprint race with Scott Speed, and on one occasion did get overtaken by Scott Speed, but came back instantly, didn't take 1 inch of track to make sure that he got that position back. And that was one of the highlights of that sprint race, and again in the feature race involved in fights with competitors all round him.
Australia and New Zealand, so driving for Australia is the 23-year-old Will Davison, and driving for New Zealand it's Johnny Reid, the 21-year-old, who's raced Formula Ford here in the past at the Eastern Creek Raceway, so he knows it as well as pretty much anyone on the grid. But some of the drivers were testing here last week. It's something that has now been banned as from last night. Drivers will not be allowed to test at a race circuit leading up to an A1 Grand Prix, but coming into this one there were some drivers who took advantage of getting out in perhaps a Formula 3 or Formula Holden car.
Yes, I mean, that was in the regulations. Now that loophole has been shut down, I think quite rightly too, because all it does is increase the costs to teams. They're going to get involved in buying a car for a weekend, or even in the case of some teams having 2 cars which they transport all around the world to give their nation a significant and I would say unfair advantage.
Further down the grid we saw Pakistan 17th, Russia 18th place, new driver Roman Rusinov, who's come in from sports car racing. He was the 2004 GT class champion of the Le Mans Endurance Series. There is Hayanari Shimoda, Japanese driver, another sports car refugee if you like. Now he's been a race winner this year in the American Le Mans Series, but it is a very different kettle of fish driving the A1 Grand Prix car. He's had a few little minor offs this weekend, and he's going to have to try and dial himself in a bit more throughout this 20-lap sprint race. But it's good to see Japan back on the grid for A1 Grand Prix. Pace car is just setting off now, and the formation lap begins here in preparation for the first of two races, and it's Nicolas Lapierre who leads them away for Team France. Portugal, remember, second on the grid, the best qualifying performance so far from Portugal. Are we going to see a new winner here today? Another nation, a third nation, become a winner in A1 Grand Prix. So far, France are the dominant country. They've taken 4 wins on their way to 50 points, but 2 wins have gone to Brazil, and that's why they're second in the championship. Switzerland have had 3 podium finishes, so they've been the next best in terms of results. And then we've had 1 podium finish each for New Zealand, Australia, Great Britain, Canada, Mexico and Ireland. We'll see today whether we get some new podium visitors.
Well, I'm interested to see how the start of the race is going to unfold, because with France on pole position and alongside Portugal, I'm quite certain that Alvaro Parenda is going to try and take a real flyer and even attempt to go around the outside of the corner, even alongside Team France. And that's a risky thing to do. It's risky for France, and because France has got such a dominant position, they don't need to take those risks. They can afford to maybe give up their winning record and take a second place if you get a very, very aggressive Team Portugal making an issue out of turn 1, or even possibly into the much slower second gear turn 2.
Well, here we are, the drivers now beginning to slow down behind the pace car, and just gradually they'll bring this pace down as they come through the latter section. They're now at turn 9, and from this point on I think they will really begin to slow it down. There's the Australian car, Will Davison at the wheel, and the very distinctive colours there, and of course behind him Black Beauty, the New Zealand car. That's what they call their car. There's some supporters here from New Zealand today, of course. It's the closest they get to a home race. And, well, if they can beat Australia on Australia's territory, that would certainly give them something to smile about. Towards the back, Team USA, Brian Herter really has got some work to do. Didn't really get himself dialed in qualifying, and discovered that getting the best out of the Cooper tyres on when they're brand new is a little bit of a skill in itself. Now the team's really beginning to bunch up together, and they'll hope for a good, clean and smooth start here. The pace car, Simon Hill just taking the pace car into the pits now. He's got them bunched up nicely. We're ready for a start.
The thing is that the pole position is on the dirty side of the track. Although it's closer to the corner, turn 1, it is to the advantage of Portugal. On the left of your picture, on the clean side of the track, more grip coming into the first turn.
Bit of bunching up behind, but we're all ready to go racing now. The French team controls the pace at the start, and we're racing in Australia, and France versus Portugal into the first turn. Side by side they go through the flat out corner. Brazil up to third, and as they run out to the curb, Neil Yarni very cautious for Switzerland. He's been passed by Brazil, and Great Britain trying to get down the inside. We've got a bit of bunching going on behind though.
Team New Zealand and Czech Republic and South Africa have all gone off in turn 2. In fact, Team New Zealand, I think, will be adjudged to have jumped the start, though they lost any advantage with going off track.
Over the bump, and Ireland have come up to 4th, and Great Britain 5th. So both Michael Devaney and Robbie Kerr made excellent getaways there, and Neil Yarni of Switzerland was very, very cautious into the first corner. So it's France that leads, 2nd Portugal, 3rd Brazil, 4th is Ireland, 5th is Great Britain, and now everyone else trying to jostle for position. Mexico chased by Germany and Australia, and in that battle between Australia and New Zealand, it's Australia on top as the Czech Republic car has come to a stop, and Thomas Enger is already out of the car.
Well, already Nicolas Lapierre and Team France has pulled out maybe half a second advantage over Portugal as they come through turn 9. Safety car is already going to be deployed because of the car stuck down in turn 2. Thomas Enger, the Czech Republic, was one of 3 cars we saw going off there. That car needs to be taken away to safety. The safety car now exits the pit lane. There is a Chrysler Hemi. That's our safety car here for the weekend.
Yep, so out onto the circuit comes the safety car. No great surprise. I think everyone thought we might see some action on the first lap, and sure enough, not too much. They got through the first corner pretty safely. Good start by the French car of Nicolas Lapierre. A very good start as well by Portugal. He did try and think about going around the outside, did Alvaro Pareda, didn't really come off.
Well, he had the longer way to go. They were pretty much evenly matched on acceleration. I think Perret maybe had a very marginal gain just at the point when they got on throttle when the lights went to green. Nevertheless, Nicolas Lapierre did such a good job over previous races. His confidence is high. He had the inside line. He could control the corner, but more critically, he could control the corner into turn 2. Once he got that advantage, then he just began the process that we've seen him and Team France do over the last 2 rounds, just gradually ease away.
What a good start from Team Ireland, though. They started in 6th place and they're up to 4th position. Great Britain in 5th, which is where they started, but they are ahead of Switzerland. Switzerland really didn't make much of the first lap, and Neil Yarney's not been very well this weekend, and you just wonder whether he's not feeling that confident. I don't know. Netherlands are running 7th, Malaysia 8th, Canada 9th, Italy in 10th, then it's Mexico, Germany, Australia are 13th ahead of Pakistan, Russia, Japan, Lebanon, Austria, China, New Zealand back in 20th, USA 21st, then India and South Africa.
Well, the reason there was a bit of a mix and match in the 3rd and 4th rows was simply because going into turn 2, it's natural that everybody will dive down the inside, and of course if you position yourself correctly, you can take advantage of that little bit of greed of trying to sneak away a bit extra track.
Just looking at the graphic, you can see who's used the power boost already, and France have already used 2 of the 4 power boosts they're allowed in the sprint race. Remember, they can use it up to 4 times in the sprint race and up to 8 times in the feature.
And the way the power boost button works is you've got a switch on the steering wheel, you push it, it is activated or deactivated once you lift off the throttle. So even in the case of a very slight lift, which you might even think was nothing, you will deactivate it. So twice on the opening lap, France. There you see France was marginally behind. That's probably where he activated the power boost button for the first time as he sweeps ahead of Team Portugal. You can see Brazil behind, but look behind, 3 cars abreast as they go into turn 2.
This was exciting stuff. That was the leaders heading in and then just trying to watch what's going on behind. There was Brazil going around the outside of Switzerland. Switzerland a bit cautious in the middle of the corner and then was ganged up on by both Ireland and Great Britain.
So you're right on Malaysia as they go into this station. Team New Zealand around the outside, they go off. Malaysia just about stays on.
We're on with Australia. Yeah. But so that was New Zealand losing out there. And let's see if we can see that again. Did he get a squeeze? Oh yeah, New Zealand got pushed out by somebody else. It might have been Mexico.
Well, South Africa gets squeezed out onto the dirt as well. But unfortunately for Czech Republic and Thomas Enger, not able to keep the engine running, not able to get back into the race, and that's the reason why safety car is being deployed. And there you see the Czech Republic's car being hoisted to safety. That'll be placed behind the concrete barrier, and I hope very shortly the safety car will be Stephen Simpson's team, South Africa, also struggling to keep up with the tail. He was one of those 3 cars we saw go off in turn 2. So we'll wait to see when the safety car will be replayed into the pits.
Well, what a disappointment for a couple of drivers there. Great shame to end up on the grass. As you say, Stephen Simpson of South Africa now at the back. And of course, we've lost the Czech Republic car altogether. And after a couple of finishes in the points last time, he was 5th in the sprint and 9th in the feature, Thomas Enger in Estoril in Portugal. But the Czech Republic, I'm afraid, become the first retirement in this race. And there is the car. I don't think it's... Well, you see the rear wheel on the left rear, I think, very scuffed and maybe suspension damaged.
Yes, the left rear's got one of the toe links on the rear suspension. That's what controls the direction the wheel should rotate in. That's been damaged, or maybe one of the joints on the inside of it has been broken. So that car could not have continued regardless of whether the engine had running or not.
Lights are out on the safety car, so we're going to be going racing once again as they come around this time. They've just got the last 3 corners of the sequence that runs together to come through, and Lapierre's keeping the pace very, very slow at this stage.
Yes, he's in control. He can do what he chooses, and of course when he comes out of turn 12 he will be in position to get on the throttle before anybody else does, and of course that gives him the advantage on the initial run to make the break. Now there he is beginning to pick up the throttle, and he's sort of maybe caught some of the field further behind, rather flat-footed. The gap is probably what best part of half a second even at this point before they actually continue racing. Technically they've got to wait until they cross the start-finish line before they can begin the process of overtaking.
Here we go then, green flag flies, and Lapierre for Team France has opened up a little bit of an edge there over Portugal's Alvaro Perret. Brazil in 3rd, 4th for Ireland, 5th for Great Britain. Here we've got a battle going on side by side, Mexico and Italy. Italy trying to go around the outside to hold that position, and now Germany's got to run down the inside. 3 abreast, surely not! Down the inside, they hit each other. Well, you can see that one coming, and Germany jammed over the top of the Mexican car.
Well, we know Adrian Sutil is a great racing driver. We saw that in Portugal, but that one was telegraphed. You could see there was not going to be space for 3 cars to get into 2, into 1 on the entry into turn 2, and that there's 2 more cars already on lap 4 of this 20-lap sprint race out of it, this 20-lap sprint race.
Well, you have to say it's probably likely we're going to see the safety car again here, as the Mexican driver Salvador Duran is trying to put his steering wheel back on. They'll get into trouble if he doesn't put it back on the car, so the marshals can move it out of the way. France lead in the early stages of the sprint race here. Second place Portugal, third Brazil, then it's Ireland, Great Britain and Switzerland.
So safety car once again in the space of 2 laps is due to be deployed to get these 2 cars again away to safety. Turn 2, there's not a huge amount of space on the outside of the corner, and if a car should just go off under its own accord or through other reasons, you want to have clear ground, nothing in the way of anybody who might have a problem.
So once again they slow it all down, and we'll have to see how things bunch up again. It was a very good restart by Team France, and Lapierre managed to make a bit of a break, and Robbie Kerr of Great Britain just had got left behind a little bit, not quite sure why, because Ireland had made a good restart and he had dropped back a little. Let's just take a look. The battle behind was between Mexico and Italy, and then Germany got involved.
Well, Mexico and Italy managed to get through turn 1 without any difficulty, but you see then Adrian Sutil picks up the draft, dives down the inside, there's nowhere to go, he's put on the grass, he's losing all his steering and braking control, and that was a very fundamental and sort of immature accident. A young driver of his quality, and he has got a lot of quality, he was just being too greedy, too anxious, and a bit behind, even further behind. I think that's Lebanon gets on the grass, so not just were we seeing trouble here in turn 2, it was on the exit of turn 1, cars off track as well.
It's all looking pretty dramatic, isn't it? And who said that in the sprint race they wouldn't try anything to overtake because they'd be thinking of the feature race? I should think a few of the team managers would wish they would calm down a bit. And Salvador Duran wasn't too impressed, was he? I don't think even Sutil can even see him from there, though.
Well, I think the battle was really between Team Italy and Mexico, and it was Germany who took the opportunistic route down the inside. But if you're going to go down the inside, you've got to make sure you've got room on the racetrack. He found he was being squeezed because they didn't even know he was there. He then had too much speed, he got on the grass, locked up, got slightly sideways, and it was a matter of just of not if but when.
Well, it's some bad news for Mexico after a tough time in Portugal too. Adrian Sutil getting rid of the helmet and the hands device, and he's going to have to sit it out, I'm afraid, for the remainder of this race. 16 laps to go in the sprint race from Eastern Creek Raceway. Team France lead from Portugal, Brazil, Ireland, Great Britain and Switzerland. That's our top 6, but I'm afraid we've lost the Czech Republic car, and now we've lost the German and Mexican cars as well in incidents, all at the same corner on different occasions. Turn number 2 seems to be the one, John, to watch.
Yes, a lot of excitement is always going to occur there when you get a field of 24 cars coming into it, very closely matched in close proximity. Of course, the other factor now is there's a lot of dirt on that part of racetrack, so anybody coming down after the restart has got to have that in mind. If they think they've got an opportunity, they should think twice, because they may also put themselves into a situation where they aren't able to slow down quickly enough, and they may also then have a collision with a car ahead.
Oh, you can just feel the disappointment, can't you, for Salvador Duran. He was really hopeful of a top result here today, and of course what it means, oh, they're talking now, that's nice to see. Duran and Sutil, at least they can discuss the issue. I wonder what the common language is, probably English, I should think.
I mean, I can understand what Sutil was trying to do. He got a really good run on Italy and Mexico, he saw an opportunity. It's immaturity, inexperience, but the guy has got raw pace, raw speed. He's courageous as well. He's a real racer. Look, gets up alongside. Now, the reason for the accident occurred is because there's a pressure point with Mexico and Italy, but Sutil right down on the inside, 2 wheels on the dirt, couldn't slow down, and fortunately Toccacello, the more experienced driver, he may have picked that up in his mirror, backed out of it earlier and let those 2 continue literally in battle onto the offside of the track.
2 20-year-old racing drivers who are trying to make their names for themselves, and both have been racing in Europe up until getting involved in A1 Grand Prix. And, well, now we'll see what happens when things get underway again. We're just waiting to see. Safety car not heading in just yet. Still got its lights on at the moment, I think, as everybody tries to maintain a bit of tyre temperature. Italy, of course, dropping back as a result of that incident. They're now down to 11th. That has brought Australia, interestingly enough, up into 10th position. USA now 18th. They're ahead of Lebanon and South Africa.
I'd like to get another look at Team Malaysia, because I think the near side bodywork on that car, the bit around the radiator ducting, and there's another little rear wing element just ahead of the rear wheel. That to me looked like it was moving around much more than it ought to do as the cars came up and around turn 8. That may be just an illusion, but I think there's that yellow car. It's probably going too slowly at this point to see whether that was the case or not. Could have been Team Australia 2 cars behind. Certainly it was a yellow car with something that I felt was moving more than would be normal on an A1GP car.
So France just trying to keep the focus and concentration here. A little bit difficult to get into the rhythm, and of course it gives another opportunity for Portugal on the restart perhaps. Notice that France has used 2 of its power boosts already. I think Portugal's got a bit more to use. Switzerland seems to have used most of it already, which is a bit of a surprise. They're down in 6th place. It was a bit of a tough first lap for Switzerland. Neil Yarni just didn't quite get it all together. And there we can see the leaders all coming down towards that turn 2 area. Verstappen's not bothering to weave around. He's just happy driving in a straight line, and he's got the Malaysian car of Alex Yoong behind him. Then Canada in 9th place, Australia 10th, and Italy. Pakistan's up to 12th place, and that's a good effort because they qualified 17th, I think.
Yeah, interesting. Ireland has also used all opportunities with this power boost button, but Great Britain in 5th place behind Ireland has still got 4 shots, or has its maximum of 4 shots available. So Ireland may not be quite as comfortable as it looks.
Yes, well, actually, is it that way around or is it the other way around?
Well, I think we had it 4 down to 0, now it's 0 to 4, I think.
So I think, I think Ireland might be in good shape actually, because Robbie Kerr, Great Britain's power boost, I think he's used up all his power boost. So that means he might be in a bit of trouble when we get this race underway again. We'll have to see. See, it depends how people use them, and of course, drivers are still really getting used to how the power boost can help them. We saw it done very effectively by the French driver who was Alexander Premat last time in Portugal.
Yes, what's happened also, of course, human beings being what they are, they're not using it just to try and help an overtaking manoeuvre, they're trying to help defend a competitor overtaking you. So the concept was to help overtaking, not necessarily to assist defence, but the 2 things are cancelling each other out. It's providing very close motor racing.
Lights out are on the safety car now. They're at turn 9, and so once again, same sort of place as we saw earlier on, where the lights go out on the safety car. He accelerates away to get out of the way because it's up to Team France to set the pace now.
Last time the safety car went in, it was about here, turn 10 up into turn 11, that Nicolas Lapierre started to get on the programme again. Still keeping the field pretty bunched. Now he's on the throttle, hard on the throttle, accelerates up into turn 11 and goes through there.
And they've left Brazil behind. Look, that caught Piquet out a little bit. Portugal has stayed with him this time. Portugal got a pretty good restart, but they've both been able to outfox Brazil a touch. He's in 3rd, Ireland in 4th. Then in 5th place it's Great Britain, 6th place for Switzerland. Then behind them the orange car of the Netherlands, always so distinctive and easy to pick out. Behind him it's Malaysia, then Canada, and turning through it's Australia, Italy, Pakistan up there, then Russia, Japan, Austria, and the rest of them all filing through. And let's hope they make it through. But there's a little mistake from Switzerland, and the Netherlands gets alongside Switzerland as they come out of turn 2, still side by side through turn 3. Now Jos Verstappen will try and come back on the inside.
There's a big bump as the cars go over the crest, but Neil Yarni moves over to the centre of the track, not to block, but just to avoid it. It's a very aggressive bump.
Now he's got the inside. Oh, he had to think about it there.
He certainly did, but in reality, if he was going to put his car right in that corner, that would have been a further collision. Jos Verstappen wisely got out of the throttle. He's going to wait. He's got another opportunity. It will not come until he exits out of turn 12. He's got to get himself in position then to try and get under the rear wing, pull out before turn 1. That's his best opportunity to make up that 1 position he needs from 7th up to 6th.
Yeah, he's still got 3 power boost opportunities, whereas Switzerland are down to 1. So Neil Yarni might be a sitting duck if Jos Verstappen can run that correctly. He's got to get close enough, though, to take advantage of it in the first place. Everyone else filing through turns 10, 11 and 12. There's Roman Rusinov, the Russian driver, having his first drive in A1 Grand Prix. He's running 13th. Not a bad effort at all. And as they come down the straight, we've got the graphic showing the power boost. Either of them using it? No. Neither Switzerland nor the Netherlands deciding to use the power boost at this stage in the race. There are still 12 laps to go. Plenty of opportunity, perhaps. We saw Australia being pushed hard by Pakistan as they came down into turn 1. There's Brian Herter driving for Team USA, his first drive in A1 Grand Prix, having taken over from Scott Speed. A bit wide there from Italy, and that's allowing Australia to close up, and that's South Africa.
It is. There was contact somewhere coming out of turn 12. We saw a huge cloud of dust go up. We also saw Toccacella, Team Italy's car, way over to the left-hand side of the track as he cut back quite aggressively to the right-hand side as they went down into turn 1. Whether that was the contact between South Africa and Italy, we never saw, but certainly South Africa in the pits with a broken rear suspension.
There's Portugal, a big slide there from Portugal in second place. Great Britain still keeping the pressure on Ireland. Netherlands dropped back a bit from Switzerland, Malaysia, Canada, then Italy, then Australia. Slightly different lines: Pakistan, Russia, Japan, Austria, New Zealand. And of course New Zealand got squeezed out at the start of the race, and they haven't really been able to make up much ground as yet. They're running down in 16th behind Matthias Lauda of Austria. Into the pits has come South Africa. Race over, I'm afraid, for Stephen Simpson, and they at least have got the car in the pit lane. That team can go to work and get it ready for the feature. Just looking at the replay, this is how it happened. It was contact with Lebanon that did it.
Yes, and there you see Stephen Simpson, the suspension broken already. Now, obviously some other cars came round, went into the dust. Whether that... Well, it wasn't broken at that stage. Well, maybe he doesn't realise it's broken. Suddenly he does realise something has gone wrong. The car being jacked up, it will be pulled back into the garage. The broken corner will be replaced for the 40-lap feature race, but there's a lot more work to be done in many more cars, and those teams will not be able to get access to the cars until this race is over.
Now the top runners just getting a little more spread apart as they come through turns 4 and 5. Canada in the middle of the shot there. Australia's managed to pull away now from Pakistan by a little way. There's New Zealand followed by Austria, and so New Zealand have managed to get past Austria on that last lap. So there's a move there from Johnny Reid. He's managed to gain one position. He's now up into 15th position.
And just watching the cars as they came round 4 and into turn 5, you could see how much the cars are beginning to move around, even at this relatively early stage. They're on lap 10 or a 20-lap race, of which 5 laps have been under safety car. So the back tyre, which is the tyre most teams have been trying to work around to get stability into the back of the car, is beginning to give some drivers bigger problems than others.
China there running in, what is that, 17th position currently. They had a big accident earlier on in the week in the free practice session. They had to build up the spare car because the primary car was too badly damaged. In fact, they've got themselves ahead of the United States, so it's Brian Herter chasing down Tang Yijian, and there's a difference in experience level, but at the moment Herter's not managing to find a way through, and it's Team France just easing away. Look at the gap now over Portugal in second and Brazil in third. Ireland still there in 4th place, then Great Britain 5th, and Neil Yarney of Switzerland trying to avoid that big bump. He's the only driver who really makes the big effort there to sweep out of the way of the bump. Everyone else just tending to go over it, letting the car ride the bump and not worrying too much. On board with New Zealand, and he's, as we saw, he passed Austria on the last lap, John. Now he's putting the pressure on Japan.
Yes, and it's going to be difficult again. He's just got to be patient. He's got to wait behind Japan. There's nothing he can do as he comes through turn 7. He's going to have no opportunity on the run up into turn 8. Then you long turn 8, but immediately on the exit you've got to be on the brakes into turn 9. Second gear downhill off camber. Hairpin, easy to overrun this corner. Johnny Reid gets a good line, good apex. But again, no advantage, so all he can do is position himself. At this point now, this is critical. He's got to get himself sufficiently close to the rear of Team Japan that he can pick up he's got a car ahead, that's Team Russia ahead. So 2 cars have got the potential to give him a good slipstream down this long main straight. But I do not think he's sufficiently close behind. He's using his boost button right now to try and pick up a little bit of horsepower, but it's not close enough as they sweep into turn 1. But he might find himself on the exit of turn 1 in a position to challenge into turn 2. I think he's too far behind.
Yeah, too far back to make a move there. Just ahead of him, just ahead of the Japanese car is the Russian car, and it does look as though New Zealand could lap a lot faster if they could find a way through, but they haven't been able to do that so far. Up over the bump, this is where we see the cars take off. You could just see the air underneath the Japanese car ahead. But Ainari Shimoda doing a good job at the moment there. First race in A1 Grand Prix, and so far so good.
Yeah, it's quite a different prospect from driving a two-seater sports car, or effectively two-seater sports car, a long race and long-distance endurance races. Team Lebanon, now they had contact with Team South Africa. That contact must have led to something more significant, because that's another retirement in this 20-lap sprint race. But Shimoda will pick up speed. He's a naturally quick driver. He's one of the young, promising prospects to come out of Japan in the last year.
We're going to have a lot of cars starting from the back of the grid in the feature race at current rate of progress. The Czech Republic, Germany, Mexico, South Africa and Lebanon will all be starting towards the back of the field as a result of retiring from the sprint race. And there you can see the list of cars that we've had out. Now the gap between France and Portugal, look at the way it's opened up in recent laps. It's now 4.6 seconds.
Well, it's really a walk around Eastern Creek for Nicolas Lapierre and Team France. They've just got such a well set up car. The balance is ideal, whether it's on full tanks, empty tanks, or something in between. They've worked on consistency very much through Friday. They've also had the natural speed there, that when they need to go to qualifying, they've got that speed as well. So they've got right now the perfect car set up, and they're able to control the race very, very comfortably indeed from the front.
Race for 10th place here, Italy versus Australia. So whether Australia is going to be able to reclaim a top 10 position here or not, but Italy currently ahead of them, and that means that Will Davison's got some work to do here. France lead, Portugal second, Brazil in third. Look at the power boosts to the left. 2 available to France, 1 available to Portugal, and on further down the list, 1 or 2 people have used all of their allocation, including Great Britain. Robbie Kerr running in 5th place, but he's used all his power boosts, although he's not under too much pressure at this stage. Australia has used all of its power boosts as well. So that means he's going to have to just hope that he can find a little bit more performance out of the car in order to close up on Italy.
Well, Team Italy is not going to be an easy prospect for Team Australia. And Enrico Toccacella, very experienced driver from other single-seater series. And look at the gap. There's certainly over a second the gap between Italy in 10th and Australia in 11th. Alan Jones on the headsets, no doubt, contacting, certainly giving information. But
well, we saw several cars going out early on in this race, and one of the ones that went out after contact with Lebanon was the South African car. Driver Stephen Simpson is back in pit lane, and I think we can hear from him. Waiting to hear from Stephen Simpson in pit lane, but just struggling to pick up any sound there, so we'll come back to that in a moment. It's still France that leads. Look at the way that Brazil's going, really closing up now on Portugal.
And I think this is what I was talking about earlier, about how you conserve your tyres. Brazil has closed right down to the rear of Team Portugal. Portugal is under pressure. What Portugal hope to do is to get pulled away with Team France. That has not happened. The gap is now over 5 seconds between first and second, but real pressure as you come in the 7 laps to go onto Main Straight.
So that's, as you say, is interesting to note what's going to happen in the closing stages of the race. Tyre wear really is a factor, and that Portuguese car is sliding around. The Brazilian car looks more stable, and Nelson Piquet Jr. desperately wants to move up and get some more points here. 1 more point, of course, to be gained, but you certainly don't want to risk a non-finish in the sprint race, because then you've got all the work to do from the very back of the feature race. So he'll only go for it if there's a golden opportunity, I think.
Now watch how Team Portugal's car is as it comes through turn 4. That's the turn they're approaching now. If you get either a head-on or a rear view, you'll see Portugal's car, the back of the car, sliding round more than for Team Brazil and Nelson Piquet Jr. That's because he's used his tyres, his rear tyres, that much harder earlier in the race, and Team Brazil and Piquet have conserved theirs better.
Both drivers have used all of their power boost availability, so they can't do any of that. Let's try going back down to pit lane now and hear from Stephen Simpson.
Stephen, hopefully they can hear us this time. Tell me what happened out there.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate. After dropping to the back of the field at the second corner, I mean, a few people went off in front of me, and I think I followed them also off in sympathy or something, but it dropped me to the back of the field, and when I was making my way through, I made a move on the Lebanese car going into the last corner, and I got alongside him, and I don't think he saw me and just turned in on me, and unfortunately bent the right rear suspension. So yeah, that was definitely one to forget, but I came from the back of the grid at Brands Hatch to finish 6th, so that's definitely going to be planned for the next one.
Let's hope they get it fixed so you get a chance to do that. Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Gareth. There was Stephen Simpson in the pit lane, but we're focusing on this battle at the moment that's going on for second between Portugal and Brazil, and it is a close battle, a tight battle between these two. As you say, the Portuguese car definitely sliding around more, but can Piquet take advantage of that?
Well, the problem for Piquet is that he's now lost the momentum that took him up to the back of Team Portugal, because the pace that Portugal's running at is about half a second a lap slower than the potential of Piquet, and because of the nature of the circuit from turn 2 all the way really up until turn 12, there's not much opportunity of getting alongside, let alone affecting a pass. So all Team Brazil and Piquet can do is just get into position, try and make sure you make no mistakes. We saw in the previous lap there was a big lock-up into turn 9. Now here we go down in Japan and New Zealand into turn 2. Now that's how you make a pass, a good clean pass. Well done from Shimoda. He saw the quicker car coming. He didn't try to block or push, and China slide goes off track.
Yeah, but so busy watching what was going on ahead that China ran wide there. Tang Yizhang going very wide indeed, and I think that's allowed, yes, it's allowed USA through. I'm not sure if it allowed India through, because they were next around, and I'm not sure whether the Indian car got past or not. But that means New Zealand now up into 14th place, and maybe with a chance of getting past Russia as well, because we saw that the Russian car was perhaps holding them up a little bit. On board here with Italy as they challenge for 9th place with Canada.
So both have got a little bit left with their power boost buttons. Toccacello, they're getting gradually to pick up the slipstream as they come down the straight, flat out into turn 1. He's not close enough to be able to get up alongside. We saw he already was in battles coming through turn 1 in the earlier part, and he locks it up, runs wide, but recovers, gets back, didn't really lose overall any distance between himself.
Yeah, and Sean McIntosh just still ahead of him at the moment, but Toccacello's looking good here, and maybe, you remember, he got squeezed out in that battle with when Germany had a collision with Mexico, and Italy lost out as a result of that. But it does look as though he's got pretty good pace here this afternoon, currently running in 10th place, but now trying to get past Team Canada. Ahead of them both is Malaysia. Alex Young at the wheel of the Malaysian car. He's driving both races this weekend, not sharing the drive as he has done on some occasions with Fares Fauzi. And then ahead of them both is the Team Netherlands car in 7th place of Jos Verstappen. But we're back now to the race for second. 3 laps to go. France way ahead in this race. In fact, as they come across the line, let's just check what the gap is. It's 8.1 seconds between first and second, but very little at all between second and third.
Yes, and Piquet Jr. Team Brazil really unable to get sufficiently close in the final turn to put himself into position. Now he closes right up here. That's because Team Portugal are struggling to get traction out of that uphill tight turn 2 hairpin bend. He can run all over the back of this car, but he can't get past on this part of the track. Again, that big kick at the back of both cars as they come out of turn 3 into turn 4. Alvaro Parente, Team Portugal, is in a situation where he doesn't have to push particularly hard. What he has to do is make sure he doesn't get forced into making an error, and therefore putting himself in a position where he could lose his second place.
Wonderful topography of this Eastern Creek Raceway, where they're up and down, and they've got off-camber corners to deal with. Some people likening it to maybe a little bit like Alton Park in the UK or Mid-Ohio in the United States. There's a lot of thinking to be done. It's quite technical in places, but overtaking obviously is not easy. There are the few opportunities that we've seen, and we're back on board here with Italy in 10th place, just behind Canada. And I gather that this race will actually finish on the clock rather than on laps, because they're getting very close to the 30-minute maximum that the sprint race is allowed.
Well, that'll be the first time it is done, so we got very close in Portugal to a finish on the clock rather than on the designated number of laps. So as we look once again at Sean McIntosh, Canada in 9th, and Enrico Toccacello in 10th place for Team Italy.
So, a big slide from Italy there. He was just so eager to get on the throttle a bit earlier, a bit more fully, and that's the result. When you haven't got traction control, the driver gets a bit excited, puts the power on a bit too soon, and round comes the back end.
Well, there's the countdown of the clock you see on the top of your screen. Just 15 seconds to go. There are the positions. Domination once again by France, but Portugal strong and being pushed very hard by Brazil. Great result for Ireland. Michael Devaney, 20 years of age, in 4th place.
Team France lead, and as the clock runs out, the checker flag will be given to Team France at the end of this lap. So they will have effectively be 1 lap down on the expected race distance. It was oh no, we've got Japan and Austria off. Look at that. Both cars in trouble, damaged as well. What a shame. What a way to finish the race. But it is Team France that's going to come through the final corner here at Eastern Creek Raceway to record yet another victory. This is win number 5 of the season for Team France. They will continue to extend their championship lead, and it's France, Nicolas Lapierre, who wins it. He's won every time he's been in this car so far.
And that is a real copybook performance, with a battle for second and third going to Portugal over Brazil, and Team Ireland doing a superb job in 4th place, followed up by Team GBR in 5th.
Yeah, so some great results there, and Ireland, after scoring a podium finish last time out at Estoril, have come home in 4th. Great Britain in 5th place, and the two of them were separated by only 1 point coming into this race. Well, Ireland finishing ahead of Great Britain will extend that to 2 points now, but both teams scoring sufficiently. India running towards the back. I think they are going to finish the final runner. They're running in 19th, but of course it will give them the edge over several cars that have failed to finish. No, they won't be 19th, because we've seen a couple of cars go off on that last lap, so they'll move up the order.
They'll be up to 17th, and that is significant because that will reflect on your grid position for the feature race. But of course you've got a lot of damaged cars that are all off track, primarily all down at turn 2. They've got to be, there's a review. Team Austria, the red and white car behind Team Japan with white with the red rounders. Oh, just simply mistake under brakes. Maybe Shimoda braked early. Lauda did not anticipate that. That was, look, the hands up saying, well, you know, I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Oh, what a shame. Herter in the American car managed to pick his way through this quite well, actually. Look, he had to go around the outside and then sort of cut back in between the two of them.
I suspect Brian Herter is wondering to himself, what am I doing in a carnage like this?
Well, that was a bit of a mistake there from Matthias Lauda. He just got caught out, misjudged the braking, tapped into the back of the Japanese car, and there's a whole collection of drivers there now.
Well, I think there are 4 altogether down there, but there's a right scrapyard of carbon fibre and body parts down at turn 2, where all that contact took place, and it's really been the bogey corner on this 2.44-mile Eastern Creek Raceway circuit. So Nicolas Lapierre did a superb job. He had 2 safety car interruptions which he had to deal with. He dealt with them both superbly. He got the jump very, very well and comfortably on Team Portugal, and looked unflustered, just drove his own race, always had clear air, never challenged, very dominant.
So France win by the full 8.6 second margin over Portugal, which have their best results so far. Brazil in 3rd, Ireland strong 4th ahead of Great Britain in 5th, Switzerland in 6th, the Netherlands in 7th, Malaysia 8th ahead of Canada and Italy. Any of those top 10 could be in shape to do well in the feature race, of course. Behind them we've got Australia in 11th place, just outside the points. Pakistan running well to get 12th ahead of Russia. New Zealand, Johnny Reid did claim a few spots after being pushed out wide on the first lap. United States 15th, China in 16th ahead of India, and then the non-finishers, quite a list of those: Japan, Austria, Lebanon, South Africa, Mexico and Germany. And those teams are the ones desperate to get their cars back to the pits. We know Lebanon's car made it back, so did South Africa, but the other cars have all to be brought back to the pits so their teams can get on with the work that's required to get them ready for the feature race.
And I wonder how they'll determine whose car to bring back first. Will it be those that were the first to have the accident, or is it first come, first served?
So Nicolas Lapierre has a 100% record. He's raced 3 and won 3 in A1 GP. Up next, reaction and analysis to the sprint race.
Let the celebrations begin.
The heroes of England's historic Ashes win head to Pakistan for their next big test. Fantastic. Follow Player of the Year Freddie Flintoff and England for 3 tests and 5 one-day internationals, all live only on Sky Sports. England's tour of Pakistan, sponsored by Stan James, starts next Saturday on Sky Sports 2.
Toshiba notebooks get tested quite brutally. Knock it off your desk and the data will be all right, usually.
Hello, Tosh, got a Toshiba?
Even if you spill something on it inadvertently, it's all right for a couple of minutes, certainly.
Hello.
Intel Centrino mobile technology, you know?
Hello, Tosh, got a Toshiba?
Get a free memory upgrade with installation when you buy a Toshiba Portage M300 with EasyGuard from PC World Business.
Tidying the garden has never been quicker or easier than with the Leaf Buster blower vac from Black & Decker. Our most powerful blower vac yet.
New on DVD. You haven't seen Lost until you experience it. On DVD, Lost, Series 1, Part 1, on DVD now.
What you put in this vase? Excuse me? What's wrong with your face? What does that stuff actually smell like? How long are you going to feel like that for?
If you've got questions about drugs, talk to Frank.
Welcome back to Sydney, Australia, and to Eastern Creek, where Nicolas Lapierre has again claimed the checkered flag. Won 3 of the races so far in A1 Grand Prix that he's competed in, and he's only raced 3 as well. So a 100% record from Nicolas Lapierre. In the studio with me is Keith Hewen and Andy Prix. And Keith, you have to say, don't you, have to take your hat off to Nicolas Lapierre, because he just keeps getting better and better.
It's faultless, and it's becoming slightly boring that they are so good at the moment. But I mean, I have to say, 3 starts he had effectively in the sprint race. He jumbled them up really nicely, looked very quick at each and every single one of them. There was no one to touch him from the rolling start situation. Put himself in pole position again for the feature race, which is exactly where he wants to be, of course.
Andy, what did you make of the start of that race? Because we had a safety car situation, didn't we, at the very beginning?
Absolutely. It was always going to happen. I mean, this circuit is very, very narrow, and it really is easy to run out of road. But I think that Yanni was badly balked on the restart, which was actually Lapierre who was controlling it nicely on the start, and that gave Yanni was right up the gearbox, and unfortunately bottled everyone up behind him.
OK, well, let's join 1, 2 and 3 because they're on the podium, and we're about to hear the national anthems played.
Again, the French national anthem plays out, and Nicolas Lapierre loves it. He's really enjoying this A1 Grand Prix series, and when you consider that he isn't always in the car, because they certainly share out the driving duties between himself and Alex Preymat, who is here this weekend once again.
We'll, of course, rejoin Ben Edwards and John Watson a little later on for the feature race. In the meantime, we'll just take a look back, though, to what was an exciting sprint race. And it started like this, Keith.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Andy's probably the better man to explain this one. Neil Yanni found himself in all sorts of trouble and slipping back. A great move, again, from Robbie Kerr. Just squeezing down the inside, closest to your camera there. Real opportunistic move, Andy.
Absolutely, and what was nice about this was that Devaney was watching it all from behind and benefited from this by going around the outside of Yanni and slipping into 4th place, which was absolutely superb. But Robbie was really good on the brakes and took a lunge up the inside, and here you can see the bottleneck into the second corner, which I did think and anticipate as being a potential shunting zone.
Yeah, I can confirm that you had said several times that turn 2 was going to be the one where all the action was, and judging by all the body parts down there at the moment, I think anybody digging around in that sandpit is bound to find something of value. You can see Thomas Enger, the Czech, turning himself round and stalling the car. Bit of a disaster, I think, for them. Pity there's not an extra space on that podium for 4th place with a brilliant Michael Devaney. I think we haven't got to underestimate his achievement in that sprint race. I think he's done absolutely fantastically.
Is he exceeding expectation at the moment, perhaps?
Not after Brands Hatch. I think Brands Hatch, he drove really well at Brands Hatch, and then, of course, the established star Ralph Furman came in, or the more established star Ralph Furman came in and drove for Team Ireland. But I think Michael Devaney, nice guy down at Brands Hatch, first time we'd ever met him. and really justifying his position today, I think, so far.
Let's take a look at what happened between Germany, Italy and Mexico, because this made pretty interesting and tasty viewing. Talk us through this one, Keith.
Well, I mean, Tocacello, I mean, he's the one for me that, again, started it all, but then he saw it building behind him. He backed it off down into this next turn, got himself out of the way, and, well, he mugged the other two. Look at him. Tocacello's managed to get it around there, but the German... I suppose I'm being a bit unfair to Tocacello, aren't I, really, because it was the German who took a bit of a lunge down the inside, eh?
Yeah, this was really Adrian Sutil's accident, to be honest. I mean, Tocacello lost momentum through turn 1, and Adrian Sutil tried to benefit from it, but was over-optimistic, had half a car on the grass and took out poor old innocent bystander Salvador Duran.
Yeah, and the Mexican has been driving so well, he didn't deserve that particular penalty, did he? But I still reckon Tocacello chucked him a dummy, and Adrian Sutil, who's been driving really well as well. The German's been going good. Bit unfortunate.
Brief word on Robbie Kerr, because he started in 5th place in that sprint race and he finished in 5th, which by Robbie's standards from a sprint to feature is good news for him, isn't it, Andy?
Great to really get Robbie into the feature race in a good grid position. I'm sure Robbie's going to be looking to improve the car, actually, because he did slip back from Michael Devaney in that race. So Robbie's got to find something in the car between this race and the next race, and hopefully he can get a good result in the feature race.
OK, more reaction from my studio guests to come. We're going to take a short break right now, though. When we come back, reaction to the sprint race, as I mentioned, will build up to the feature, and we go off track with one half of the successful Team France partnership. It's Alexander Premat in his home city of Paris.
دیگه از من چی میخوای؟ من دوست دارم مرا
Both away, Beethoven.
Thanks for the lift. Ow! Like, whoa!
Watch it, dog. Shut up!
Oh, and another one.
Biggie, no!
iTunes in your phone, baby.
Hello, Moto.
This Christmas, even more prices lowered. With real breakthrough prices, like this outstanding Sony 15-inch LCD TV at only $299. And this Kenwood stainless steel range-style cooker, another breakthrough. 2 ovens, 5 burners and only $549. Currys, always lowering prices.
Here it is, colour screen, camera, internet. You like it? If you want it, I'll leave it on the table while I go to the bar. You can grab it then. Or you can wait for me outside. It'll be all lit up like a Christmas tree.
Don't advertise your phone to thieves.
It's a fight between good and evil. Your fate and that of the world lies in the hands of one person.
Hiya, I'm looking for the man with the pointy ears.
Oh, right. Do you mean Kevin?
No, he's a superhero.
Yeah, okay.
He's climbing. Oh, I'm always climbing buildings, me. I'm like...
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Thanks.
Get the right game this Christmas. Send your mum to Game Station. Plus, till 5:30 Saturday, November 12th, you can save £18 on our Steal of the Week, Ultimate Spider-Man.
That delicious taste of the Orient. Tetley's green teas. Tetley, everyone's cup of tea.
Welcome back to Eastern Creek, Sydney for A1 Grand Prix's 4th race weekend. Nicolas Lapierre once again has stolen the headlines and pole position for the feature. Let me just take you through exactly how it finished in that sprint race and how it will look for the feature race. Nicolas Lapierre on pole, race 3 of the A1 Grand Prix series and 1-3. Portugal with Alvaro Prevente in 2nd and Nelson Piquet Jr. taking 3rd for Team Brazil. 1, 2 and 3 have been speaking to Lee McKenzie.
Nicolas Lapierre and Team France winning again. It was such a dominant performance. 7 seconds was the gap between you and 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the race, we had very fresh tyre and the car was fantastic. So I just had a big push at the beginning to open a gap. And, the car was fantastic. So I just had to push at the beginning and control at the end. But now, his second race is just more difficult because he got a pit stop and standing start. So we have to stay focused and keep pushing for the second one.
There were a couple of safety cars out there which kept you thinking, kept you on the restarts, but your power boost button obviously came in handy then.
Yeah, I mean, I did a bit of a mistake at the start because I used twice the power boost, and I didn't mean to do that, so I had only 2 left. But you know, I think I had a good strategy at the restart of safety car, and it was enough to get in the front.
Thank you very much for the moment. Team Portugal, Alvaro Parente, your first podium, congratulations. You had to keep busy as well because you had Team Brazil all over the back of you at some points.
Yeah, that's true. The car was a bit oversteery, so hard to drive, and obviously we have to find some grip for the second race so we can do a better job. It was very hard to keep up with Team France. We didn't have a chance to keep up with them, but we're going to work for the second race.
How surprised were you with the speed of Lapierre and Team France?
I knew he had new tyres on too, but yeah, had a good speed, and we have to work harder for the second race.
Thank you very much. Nelson Piquet Jr., Team Brazil, you couldn't quite get past Team Portugal, even with all the restarts and the safety cars.
Yeah, we were quite quick. The car was better than I thought so. In all the practice we had a very oversteered car, and qualifying also wasn't very well. So I thought I was gonna have a hard job, but I did a good start. I managed to go behind Alvaro. I was waiting for maybe Alvaro to do a move on France, but France went away quite quickly, and but it was very difficult to overtake. I mean, my 6th gear was quite short also in the middle of the straights. I had the limiter already, so it was difficult to overtake Alvaro, and also it was the first race. I think I have a bigger chance in the second race because it's longer, there's a pit stop, there's standing starts, there's all more stuff. I think I didn't want to take the risk of something happening and starting in the back in the second race.
As the only other country to have won a race in A1 Grand Prix, how surprised are you the difference in speed from Team France here to Brands Hatch?
Well, I think some places you get the car well setted and somewhere you don't. I mean, I think Alex haven't drove in Brands, and also I don't know, maybe they didn't get the car sorted out there. But I mean, after that race, they found something, and it's making there quite quick. I think today, I mean, if I would have managed to step in front of Alvaro, I'm sure I could have a much stronger pace, and I don't know how much quicker I could have been, but I'm sure the gap would be smaller between me and France, or even if I could get close to them. I think the next race is going to be interesting.
Nelson, thank you. Nicholas, just finally, 5 wins from the last 5 races. Is the pressure growing on Team France every time? You seem infallible at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Now it's a big pressure, but you know, we have. Anyway, even if we don't get a win, we have to score a lot of points because on the championship it's very close and it's not a big difference between first and second and third. So we just have to do the race. If we can win it, we're gonna do it. But you know, just keep pushing.
Gentlemen, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, there is no doubting that France have been the early pace setters in this, the first A1 Grand Prix Championship. Nicolas Lapierre recording a double win in Germany, a sprint win here, of course. His teammate, Alexander Premat, did the double in Portugal too. So, early in the week, I set out to find the secret of Team France's success. Necessary for me, of course, to visit Alexander Premat in his home city of Paris. Alexander, we're with you today in Paris. The Eiffel Tower behind us, a bit of a dead giveaway. But has Paris always been home for you?
Yeah, for sure. I live in Paris since I have been. So this is a really nice city because I love Paris. Everything else to do, this is open to do that.
You travel a lot as a motor racing driver and also as part of your A1 duties. So do you miss it when you're away? Do you miss being at home?
Yeah, for sure. We travel a lot with the A1GP or for another championship. So I am not really at home with my girlfriend or with my parents and with family because this is really hard motorsport, and so we travel a lot, and so this is pretty good to travel a lot because we know a lot of people, a lot of new guys, and the new country and a lot of monuments also.
So where did your love of cars first start then? When did you first decide that you wanted to be a motor racing driver?
Yeah, so for sure the Formula One, this is really exciting because I think this is the most of the racing motorsport. But the A1GP, it's really nice car to drive because it's sliding a lot, and this is very, very exciting to drive for the driver.
Luckily, your passion is something that you obviously do very well. Congratulations for Portugal. How did that feel to come away as race winner on both occasions?
It was a really nice race because I like the circuit because this is a really nice place, this is a really nice circuit, and we improve a lot with the team Air France because we worked a lot during the weekend, because at the beginning of the weekend was really hard because I was third in the qualifying, and after the race 1 and the race 2 I won both races, and so we work a lot, and thank you the team also because I was really confident on the car, and me too, and the engineer did a really good job, and the mechanic also.
Was there much pressure on you over the course of the weekend? Because obviously Nicolas had succeeded in the previous race and won both races at Lausitz in Germany. So was there much pressure on your shoulders to win the next two?
Yeah, for sure. I had some pressure before the weekend because Nico did a perfect weekend at Lausitzring, and so when I come back in Portugal, yeah, for sure.
Because of the way that Team France do that and because of the way they work, it means that it won't be you racing in Australia, it'll be Nicolas Lapierre, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, because Nico come back in Australia and me, I come back in Malaysia and Singapore.
And how will you feel when he's racing Eastern Creek? What will that feel like? Will you be supporting him in the pits with the rest of Team France?
For sure, I support him because I wrote the sector to say that after when he come back in the pit lane, he said me, what is my first sector and second and third sector? I think we need to support the driver who drive, and I think this is nice for his mind to somebody help him to go in the victory.
So how much pride is involved for you? How proud do you feel to be driving for Team France?
This is really nice to choose me and Nicolas to do this deal, because I think this is really important for the country and everything.
Okay, well, best of luck in Australia and indeed in Malaysia, where you'll be driving.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for speaking to us.
Okay, thank you.
France continuing to impress this weekend. Now, you can hardly split them in A1's inaugural championship, but today rivalries between the host nation, Australia, and neighbours New Zealand will step up as one looks to outdrive the other.
A1 Grand Prix pits nation against nation, and every team is doing their best to beat every other country on the grid. However, some teams find extra motivation to win by beating their old adversaries.
I think the rivalry between Australia and New Zealand is actually incidental, that it's a motor race. It could be two flies walking up the wall.
When it comes to things like football, cricket and now motor racing, we just do not like being beaten by them.
It's good to have these rivalries going, you know. I think it makes it a little bit more interesting for everyone, and, you know, draws a few people into the sport to watch it.
I've seen they've had the hooker on the grid at a couple of the races, so I think we've got something a bit more special planned for this one to try and psych them all out.
We've got a few tricks. We're going to put little stuffed lamb and sheep on the grid so the driver will be distracted.
I might remind Alan that he is behind us in the championship, so whatever he can do, we'll cope with it.
As long as we do our talking on the track, it's no problem.
We're both very competitive, but there's no way we're going to lose to those guys.
Well, prediction was right in the first race. We'll see whether it's right in the second, because Australia finished in 11th place and New Zealand finished in 14th place, but neither country scored points, so they're both going to be hoping for slightly better things when we get into the feature race. Well, many of the drivers arrived early for this event to allow time for body clocks to adjust and to get involved in some of the classic Aussie experiences, and one that got the adrenaline pumping a little bit was the opportunity to take some exercise on a highly visible Sydney landmark.
Sydney is one of the greatest tourist destinations in the world, and the A1 GP drivers, just like any other tourists, are keen to take in a few sights along the way on their tour of the globe. So we offered them a view of Sydney Harbour from a slightly elevated point of view.
Sydney is a very nice city. I saw Sydney from the floor, so I'm now trying to see it from the air.
I
don't do heights very well.
Sydney's a beautiful, beautiful harbour, and it's probably something I'd never normally do. So it's good to take this opportunity to have a bit of a look around.
As the drivers reached the summit at 134 metres, the local sights were pointed out by someone who's highly qualified to do so.
Good morning everyone and welcome to Sydney, welcome to the top of the Harbour Bridge. I'm Sandra Norrie, the Minister for Tourism, so glad to have you here.
It's actually great having all the friends and all the guys from all around the world here, just to show them our beautiful city. It's a pretty sedate atmosphere up here. It's very nice and relaxed, although it's a rush because you're up so high. One person here doesn't like heights, but he's a Kiwi, so we're used to that.
It's a beautiful city, and there's not a better place than to see it from here. And Sandra Norrie, the Minister of Tourism, was nice enough to show us around and show us the ropes, which was lovely, and I hope we repay her by showcasing Australia to the world.
And they had beautiful weather for it too, so a great day for some of the drivers as they had the opportunity to see Sydney from a very different angle. And many of the people have driven. It's only about less than a half an hour's drive from central Sydney out to this Eastern Creek Raceway. So many of the people here today are based in this part of the world, of course. Let's hear now from Japanese driver Shimoda.
Hi Nari, just tell us what happened out there on the last lap.
At second corner, behind of my car couldn't stop enough, then he hit me from the back, then we crashed, so a little bit, yeah.
It's very frustrating. Is your car going to be okay for the main race?
Yeah, the damage is very small, so we can repair it, so that's fine.
It does mean you start from the back?
Yeah, get used to it, then, yeah, I'll... Sorry, my English is not so good.
It's better than my Japanese. Thanks very much, Ainari.
Thank you very much.
Ainari Shimoda there. Nice to see him out for Team Japan this weekend. Of course, we've seen two other drivers for Japan this year, Ryo Fukuda and Hideki Noda, so a third driver joining, and that's all part and parcel of A1 Grand Prix, seeing different drivers from different disciplines getting involved and getting the experience of driving A1. We saw the drivers walking the Harbour Bridge earlier. Well, that's not all they've been up to this week. A visit to Sydney wouldn't really be complete without a trip to Bondi Beach.
Golden sands and great waves. Bondi Beach is the place to learn how to surf.
Guys, what we're going to do is we're going to give you some wetsuits and a couple of rashies. That's for you.
Most of the drivers had never surfed, but before they got in the water, they needed the right gear, plenty of sunscreen, and lots of advice from the 6-time World Surfing Champion.
Okay, everyone, welcome to Bondi Beach. I'm very happy to be taking you surfing with 6-time World Champion Lane Beachley. We're going to go down to the beach. We're going to show you some techniques. I think the sooner we get in the water, the better, huh? Let's go surfing.
I'm from Australia, but I've never surfed before. To be taught by 6-time world champion is something we're very lucky to all be able to do today.
I've never been to Australia before. It's the first time. Great beach, great people. It's good fun.
Because it's so hot today, I'm going to get you to go in the water, dive in, get wet, and then come back. Okay, now come back!
The beach is beautiful and the temperature is good out here. It's nice going to each different country and having a different activity.
This is what I do for relaxation and between races. Surfing, being at the beach, a nice day like this, it's extra good fun.
Let's get onto our surfboards and Lane's going to show you a few tricks. Your back's going to be arched and you're going to paddle one arm at a time. Go up into a push-up position and then you're going to swing your feet between your hands. Okay, ready, go. Jump, jump up, jump, well done. Fantastic, that's great work. We're ready to go in. All right, let's go.
Had a coming together with another red.
It's really good fun actually, the water's not too cold and it's great learning to surf properly.
I've always wanted to do this, even though they're really small waves and doing like 5 miles an hour. It's a great feeling.
First time at it, so it's good fun. I quite enjoy it.
It's really hard to figure out when to go with the wave, but the instructors are being really good, really helpful.
I believe it's 3 waves and I like it a lot.
I got up one time really well, but the other times I just went down.
I only got up a couple of times, but it's a tough sport, I think.
It's really good to be surfing here with all the A1 GP drivers.
Surfing's just all about having fun, hanging out at the beach with some friends.
And it was my first time surfing. It was great.
I was very impressed. I know how difficult it is to surf for the first time. They were all very enthusiastic and they all got up, which is even one of the toughest things to do. Maybe a few potential world champion drivers, but not in surfing, I'm sorry to tell you.
Tell you what, Keith Ewan, it's more than just a drive, isn't it, when you commit to A1 racing?
I was going to say, I've never seen Andy Prix quite so jealous. With the work schedule he's got of late, bit of beach work would go down quite well,
I love
Andy.
what Will Davidson had to say. He said it's very nice and relaxing on top of that harbour bridge with many sit like that. You've done it, haven't you?
Yeah, it's an awesome climb. I mean, I did it at night and it was spectacular, but I must admit, it'd take a lot to get me in the water in Sydney with all those sharks around. I mean, there's a few sharks in motorsport, but, you know, that looks pretty risky to me.
A few more in that ocean. Well, Team France, you'll be pleased to hear, are much better on the track than on the waves. Race action and reaction coming to the sprint race and another Nicolas Lapierre success story.
BMW 1 Series with automatic rain sensor. Everyone is full of surprises.
Wouldn't it be nice to explore the world outside your bus window and make going to work feel as good as coming home? Why not give it a go? Find a different route to work. It might make your day. There's a million ways to make your day. Mars is just one of them.
The new Decamate from Black & Decker has a powerful scraper, sander and screwdriver. So the preparation gets done a lot quicker than some people might have thought.
It's a fight between good and evil. Your fate and that of the world lies in the hands of one person.
Hiya, I'm looking for the man with the pointy ears.
Oh, right. Do you mean Kevin?
No, he's a superhero.
Yeah, okay.
He's climbing. Oh, I'm always climbing buildings, me. I'm like...
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Thanks.
Get the right game this Christmas. Send your mum to Game Station. Plus, till 5:30 Saturday, November 12th, you can save £18 on our Steal of the Week, Ultimate Spider-Man.
1.99er. They're only $1.99.
Guess how much Burger King's freshly baked baguettes cost, including new fiery barbecue beef.
1.99er. They're only $1.99.
Welcome back to Eastern Creek, Sydney for round 4 of the A1 Grand Prix Series, the feature race. Moments away, but before that, a reaction to the sprint race. Okay, let's get reaction from my studio guests, Keith Ewan and Andy Prix. Keith, you first of all. Team strategy is going to matter, isn't it, because it's the feature race next?
It is going to matter. I mean, pit stops are obviously all important. Team GB particularly are very, very good in a pit stop situation. I think something significant for me, and we've heard it now from both the French drivers, is they actually really do like driving these cars. We haven't heard that from many of the other drivers. I think the French have settled right into these cars. They like to drive a car without any driver aids, it would appear, both of them. And I think that's significant. They're kind of dragging each other around here, Andy, so well.
Absolutely. I mean, when the car's well balanced as well, you know, it's always a nice car to drive. It's when it's hard work that it gets very, very difficult. I'm looking forward to the feature race because there's going to be an opportunity for one of the guys to stall on the grid. It could be Lapierre, and if somebody can jump him off the start, then I think that he can actually maintain his position as long as the pit stop's good. So Be interesting to see how Robbie
Corner
gets
2,
off.
as you so rightly predicted, was going to be a problem in the sprint encounter. Could it again be in the feature?
I think so. You're going to be arriving at it a little bit slower, which maybe the drivers are thinking, great, this is an opportunity to overtake and be a little bit more aggressive. But it's a long race, and I think most of them should be thinking of the finish.
OK, well, let's take you down to the grid so you can see exactly what's going on, because the feature race is due to get underway in the not-so-distant future, and teams just putting the finishing touches in place before it. Hand you over to our commentary team of John Watson and Ben Edwards.
So that's an opportunity to confirm how they line up for the start of the feature race, and this is the grid lineup. They will start the other way round this time, with pole position on the outside heading into the first corner. It will be France to start on pole position, Portugal alongside him on the front row with the inside line but the dirtier line of track. Then it's Brazil and Ireland. Ireland hoping for a second podium finish in A1 Grand Prix. Great Britain and Switzerland follow up. Then it's the Netherlands and Malaysia. Both cars running well in the top 10 in that first race. They're followed by Canada and Italy. Italy looks pretty strong after the earlier incident. Australia, Pakistan, Russia and New Zealand. New Zealand really having to try and fight their way up the order here. Herta for the USA ahead of China, India, Japan. There's Shimoda followed by Lauda, so Lauda will be right behind him again. Then it's Shaban of Lebanon, Steven Simpson of South Africa, and then the guys who went out earlier on, Duran of Mexico, Germany's Adrian Sutil, and our first retirement, therefore he lines up last on the grid, and that is Thomas Enger of the Czech Republic. Top racer, but he's going to have to work very hard to move up from there. And there, as the cars now just start to head out of the pit lane, they are allowed to back into the pits. You can see some cars heading back in. They will make a few checks on the cars, a few final alterations, and then back out again.
Yes, but I'm slightly concerned. They're still working at the part of the racetrack, which is the outside of the entry into turn 1, where there clearly were liquids from the jet car dragster demonstration, and that has still not been cleared away. And undoubtedly they will do their best. But for those that are starting on the outside of the corner, i.e. lines 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9, in other words pole position, they've got to cut across that probably to make their entry into turn 1.
One or two cars are coming back in. You can see Brazil just making its way back into pits. Portugal not quite ready to go out yet. There's no great drama. They've still got a good 5.5 minutes before the pit lane closes, so they don't need to be in a desperate rush, and if they're happy with the way the car's set up, they can just take it straight onto the grid.
Yes, I think they'll be trying to maybe dial a little bit of the oversteer out of the car. That's when the back end starts to slide around, because we're into a 40-lap feature race with that mandatory pit stop. Now it's a question of really more to do with track position, and of course we've seen a number of safety car interruptions because of the incident, so that also will be a factor which will play to people's advantages when they choose to make that stop. That's what we saw happen in Portugal when the safety car came out. The track emptied and everybody was in the pit lane changing. Now there were moves to block that kind of opportunism and have a pit stop window, let's say somewhere between laps 10 and laps 20 or 15 and 30 or whatever it may be, and that idea was blocked by the teams because they think that's something that might work against teams. And of course, take as an example, looking at Michael Tavenni, Team Ireland and Portugal benefited from that when the pit stop window was opened and allowed Ralph Fairman to get in, get back out on track and gain position, and that is partly what led to his first podium of the year.
Yeah, and they've just got to see how it goes. They can't really plan it until the race begins, develops, and then you can see where your car is. Looks as though Lapierre may be just doing a little bit of a practice start. It will be a standing start, remember, for this second race, and therefore he's just getting a little bit of extra practice in before the start.
Yeah, and that just illustrates the confidence, as we look at Team America, the confidence that France has got, because they're able to do these things without any pressure. They're not flustered, they're not rushing to get the car out onto the grid, and again they have to start by a substantial margin favourites, but of course that pit stop is still open to question.
Robbie Kerr onto the grid as Adrian Sutil's car, Germany's car, was dropped down from the jacks, and he should be sent on his way. The damage that was done in the impact that he had with Team Mexico has been repaired. He's got a spare nose cone on there that hasn't been painted up in the German team livery. Hasn't been time enough, obviously, to do that. But the car is in one piece, and that team has done a great job, because there must have been a fair bit of damage. It did get connected pretty well with the Mexican car.
Yes, they would have relied on communication to Adrian Sutil, or from what they could find out, by any methods possible and get the parts prepared, so once the car did return to the garage, that they would just simply pull off the offending body and suspension parts and replace it. The question is, have they had time to really track the car up the front and rear suspension to make sure the wheels are pointing in the correct direction? Is the toe-in and the steering right? Will the driver, when he gets into the car, when he drives down a straight line, find the steering wheel as he likes it, or will it be up or down depending on whatever? Those are the little details that can affect a driver, can unsettle a driver.
Yeah, it was nice to see David Sears just giving the chief mechanic a pat on the back there. Work done. The guys had worked very well there to get that German car back out with the pit lane still open and with some time to go. Now the American car coming through the pits, just to perhaps they've been making some changes, they want to get a feel for it, so he's going out for another lap. They're allowed to do this coming through the pits, but once they go onto the grid they have to stay on the grid. They're not allowed to move off the grid obviously until the beginning of the formation lap. And Brian Herter is proving to be a tough baptism for the American, the very experienced American racer, more experienced than many of the drivers here in the field, but in a completely different kind of car. There is Robbie Kerr of Team Great Britain. Now he's got some work to do. Can he get another podium finish? We saw a brilliant drive from him in Germany from the very back of the grid. This time he's lining up in 5th place, so what can he do from there?
Well, I think he's got a slight advantage. I mean, Ireland is going to be his principal target, and he's got the advantage of that he is on the outside, on the left of the screen as we're looking at it now. Again, looking at all that white chalk or powder that's on the racetrack, that's going to be a feature as the cars funnel into turn 1. There's going to be a big plume of dust going up, but anybody on the left hand side of your picture, right hand side of track, is marginally better off than those on the left hand side, which is the dirtier side of track.
So Germany's car moves into position on the grid just about. We saw a good result for Team Ireland just now, and a 4th place finish just off the podium. Michael Devaney, the youngster, at the wheel, and Lee Mackenzie's with him now on the grid.
Michael, standing on the grid before the main race, you've got a pretty good position here.
Yeah, we're at the sharp end of the field, so it puts us in a good position to score some more points this race. It's going to be quite tough. Brazil and France are quite quick, but I think we can match Portugal, and in the sprint race we are quite a bit quicker than Great Britain, so I think it's okay from that point of view.
Thanks very much, Mike.
Cheers.
Michael preparing to start from 4th place on the grid. There is the pole man though, to the outside now. So again, as we've seen at previous races, it pole swaps from the inside for the rolling start to the outside for the standing start. But of course with the stagger on the grid here, they're not side by side on the front row. There's a gap forward to back between France and Portugal, so the poleman has the advantage. He also has the cleaner line because the outside line down the straight has been cleaned by all the cars that tend to stay on that side of the road heading down into turn 1. And there is the man whose brainchild A1 Grand Prix is and was, Sheikh Maktoum, making his way down the grid. It's been a tremendous weekend's racing so far, tremendous activity, a lot of support from the locals, which has been fabulous to see. And we're now building up towards the long race, the pit stop race, the feature race here at Easton Creek.
Yes, and I do anticipate we're going to see a lot of early pit stops, and I'm slightly anxious about the lead into turn 1, where there is a lot of dust on the track that's going to blow up in the face of the drivers, not so much for those at the front of the grid, but those in the middle and the back. And anybody who's maybe taking a bit of a flyer, which is always possible when you're at the back of a field, they will have to be careful. But of course it was always turn 2 that we saw most of the issues arise in the sprint race.
Brazil starting 3rd. Let's hear from Emerson Fittipaldi.
Emerson, P3 where you started the last race, were you surprised by the speed of France and Portugal in that one?
Well, Nelson was very confident. He was running strong behind Álvaro Portugal, and he was about a second faster, but he couldn't go over. He couldn't pass Álvaro. And if he makes a good start now, he's going to put a lot of pressure in France.
Did you make any changes between the 2 races?
Not really, just small adjustments, but he's very confident. As long as he can start ahead, it'll be a strong race. There'll be a lot of dicing today.
Emerson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Determining factor. They've all been practicing the pit stops as ever, but as we've seen in earlier rounds of A1 Grand Prix, they can go wrong without any warning, and getting the wheel nuts on when you've only got one guy working on each wheel, it puts the pressure on the team, there's no doubt about it.
I think the difficulty will be not so much with the wheel change itself, it'll be actually if everybody does come in at the same time, usually under a safety car, that the space between the car that you're behind and the car that you're ahead well, maybe compromise how you get your car in. It's fine doing a practice where everything is lined up perfectly and all the guns come out instantly. It's when you've got cars ahead of you and behind of you, and that's when the stress sets in, and even the best teams in the world can get it wrong under those situations.
Starting in 6th place on the grid is Switzerland. Let's hear from Neil Yarni.
Neil, I saw you at the back of your garage there, surrounded by doctors, having your blood pressure taken. What are they saying? Are you going to be all right for this race?
Well, just checking and to see that there is no problem for sure, and should be okay for this race. But I felt the last race, so after 10 laps, I felt just my strength going slowly away, and I just took it a little bit more easier because I didn't have anything behind me, nothing in front. So it will be a hard race, this one, and well, we'll see what comes.
Well, rather you than me. Thank you, Neil. Good luck.
Thank you.
Neil Yarni there with Gareth Jones, and he has been suffering a bit this weekend, but you know, still having a good old go at it. Let's see what he can do from 6th position on the grid. Switzerland still running 3rd place in the championship. They're 11 points behind Brazil, and they're a full 21 points now behind France. France really are on a roll. Looking at the Netherlands now, they're starting from 7th place on the grid. Jos Verstappen getting some points in the sprint race, hoping for more in the feature.
Three big tests for England at Twickenham, live only on Sky Sports. First up next Saturday, arch rivals Australia. Big trouble here. Then it's the world's #1.
New Zealand can just blow you away.
Finally, Samoa.
Twickenham goes wild.
Starts next Saturday with England v the Aussies.
He's got it. What a moment.
Sponsored by Guinness, 2 p.m. Sky Sports 1.
5, 4, 3.
They go further. Download music to your mobile and PC. Watch TV shows on your mobile.
Next time, I'm driving.
Prix, welcome to our network.
Unlimited Elvis. With AOL Broadband, you get unlimited time online, so you can download as much music from the internet as you like.
There's an epidemic coming. It will affect the entire world.
The conspiracy is growing.
There are millions of people that all need help.
And our lives are in the hands of 2 people.
Chaos, unmarked graves, murder.
Critics are calling it a stunning piece of work that's a marvelous, outstanding, blistering triumph. The Constant Gardener.
New on DVD. You haven't seen Lost until you experience it. On DVD. Lost, Series 1, Part 1. On DVD now.
You can have an inexpensive Christmas, a more relaxing Christmas, a bigger family Christmas. Because not only is every sofa in the DFS Winter Style Collection half price, but it's guaranteed to be in your home in time for a comfy Christmas. There's 4 years free credit and nothing to pay for the first year. Think sofas, think DFS.
Looking down over Eastern Creek Raceway as the build-up to the feature race here continues. We've got less than 10 minutes to go to the start, and a good crowd has gathered here to watch the first visit of A1 Grand Prix to Australia. Of course, the championship moving on to Malaysia and Dubai before the Christmas break. But we are at the 1/3 distance mark as we complete this race meeting, and it's looking very good from Team France's point of view. They're now going into this race with a 10-point advantage, and there are 10 points on offer for a win. But one non-finish from France, and it could all change around once again. We talked about Malaysia. They're starting in 8th place. Alex Young driving both races here this weekend. Let's hear from him now on the grid.
Alex, nice to have you back in the car. Are you enjoying being a bit closer to home?
Definitely, you know, it's nice being this part of the world, and looking forward to the next race in Malaysia.
How do you fancy your chances? You've got Sean McIntosh Canada alongside you, Jos Verstappen just in front of you. It's going to be rough out there, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I've got some good races around me, so hopefully a good start and a good pit stop, and who knows, top 5.
Alex, I'll let you get in the car. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks.
Alex Young has raced here in the past. He's one of the few drivers that has at Eastern Creek. That was in Supercar V8 touring car, Australian touring car. But another driver that has got a good experience here is the New Zealand driver, Johnny Reid, the youngster, finished in 14th, so that's where he'll start the feature race. Let's hear from him.
Johnny, starting from 14th on the grid, it was pretty eventful for you in that last one.
Yeah, I got a really good start, and I was very happy into the first corner, knowing that I could possibly score a point. And then running up into the hairpin, I got outside the Australian car and outbraked a couple of others, and then I was hit off by the Mexican car. So kind of frustrating, but that's motorsport. You have to accept it and move on.
You've got the silver Verne here, you're kind of showing to the Australian crowds. What about this rivalry then? What was it like being alongside Australia on the grid for the first race?
Oh, for sure. You know, it's the Aussie-Kiwi rivalry is strong. So, you know, I wanted to do my home nation proud and get in front of the Aussies, but it wasn't to be. So let's hope for the next one.
Well done. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Let's see whether he can do it this time around. New Zealand are still ahead of Australia in terms of the championship because neither of them scored points, so they have an 8-point margin over Australia currently. The prospect here, the target really, is just to get into that top 10 and score a few more points. Here's Italy, John. They managed to score 1 point.
Yes, I'm slightly perplexed by Italy because they've got a very strong driver in Enrico Toccacello, and Team Italy is a single car effort. It is very much an Italian effort. Yet it hasn't quite come together, and I suspect what's the reason is that the engineering and the driving side, they're not amalgamating, not connecting. It's such a fundamental part, and we're saying it, we keep repeating about how well France is doing and the feedback that their drivers give the team, and the team are able to translate that into a really easy, workable car for their two drivers to win consistently. And we've seen such consistency now over 2 meetings plus the sprint race here at Eastern Cricket, and frankly, unless there's an issue either into turn 2 where probably there will be contact once again, or maybe due to a problem in the pit stop where a wheel nut or something doesn't quite attaches or come off as necessary, they're pretty much unchallengeable. But not to say they're unbeatable, because when we go to Malaysia, for example, which is the next round, we're going to an entirely different racetrack to probably any of those that we've been to so far this year.
Looking there at Team Pakistan, and Adam Khan finished in 12th place, so he was also just outside the points, but that means he starts 12th on the grid. Good opportunity there for Pakistan to score again. Pakistan ahead of Russia on the grid. Russia, one of the few countries yet to score any points at all, but they have had, I think, what is this, their 4th different driver in the car so far for the Russian team, so there hasn't been a lot of continuity as yet. Perhaps they can really settle down now and begin to build up and get some points.
Well, as one of my old team managers used to say, racing drivers are like light bulbs. You screw one out and you screw another one in, and that's currently maybe the Russian, not necessarily their philosophy, but that's how it appears. They've been going through a number of drivers. They're looking for drivers who are going to deliver, frankly. And of course, Russia, another emerging nation in the motor racing world, they're looking to establish themselves, and it's a very steep learning curve, and they're trying to climb that steep curve as quickly as possible.
Lebanese flags flying high. We saw the South African flag being displayed a moment ago as well, but South Africa have some work to do. They're starting pretty much towards the back of the field. We heard from Stephen Simpson, he's still optimistic. Well, he's always optimistic. He's always got a big smile as well. And Brian Herter for the Stars and Stripes Brigade, the Team USA entry here. He's also got plenty to do, but let's see what happens once the race gets underway, and particularly when we get into the pit stops. They were busy practicing them this morning. They got down to about 14 seconds, which is actually very, very good, with just one guy per wheel. So once again, let's just confirm the lineup for the feature race here. 40 laps of the Eastern Creek Raceway, and it's France on pole position courtesy of the win in the sprint race. Nicolas Lapierre will lead them away. Alvaro Parent for Portugal from 2nd place, then Brazil, Nelson Piquet Jr. looking to take another win perhaps. Devaney for Ireland, then it's Robbie Kerr of Great Britain, Neil Yarni of Switzerland, and then the Netherlands' Jos Verstappen. Alex Yoong driving for Malaysia. Canada are 9th on the grid ahead of Italy. Australia and Pakistan are back on row 6, then it's Russia and New Zealand. Johnny Reid determined to move up the order. USA and China are together on row number 8, then it's India and Japan. Shimoda just entering his 2nd race in the series. Austria and Vasil Shaban of Lebanon had a good result last time in Estoril in the feature race. They're followed by South Africa, Mexico, Germany and the Czech Republic. And we've got a couple of quick guys towards the back there, or potentially fast guys, although the Czech car, they just seem to be struggling for pace all weekend. Didn't really qualify that well. They might struggle from the back. there's how they line up. There's the view looking down the grid. I hope they've cleared up that area entering into turn number 1.
Well, there's still a lot of that dust they put down to clear up the liquids on the track. In fact, as the safety car set off on its exploratory lap around the circuit, there were plumes of that dust coming up from behind the car. That's just one car going over it at maybe 60 miles an hour. When you get a field of 24 cars coming down at close to certainly 130 miles an hour from the standing start, it will be very, very much worse, and it will have an effect on visibility, particularly those cars that are coming down from the right-hand side of the grid, more so in the middle and the back of the field. So I think we'll see a bit of excitement. We might even see contact. We could see cars certainly running wide in turn 1, and as we saw in practice, those cars sometimes come back onto track pointing in the right directions. Other times they come back at 90 degrees, and on some occasions they were coming back at 180 degrees to the traffic. And with 24 cars on track, that's quite a lot to contend with.
There we are looking at Lauda, and Matthias Lauda. It's a pretty intricate helmet design. It's a pretty impressive helmet design, that, for Lauda, isn't it?
Yes, his father used to have a very plain helmet, and I think Matthias started off with that. But there are some arty and crafty people in Austria who come up with designs, and that's a particularly subtle one that you need to get right in with the camera, as we did there, to really appreciate it. But some of the work of art in these helmets, I mean, really are outstanding.
There we are looking at Stephen Simpson driving for South Africa. Of course, we've seen Thomas Scheckter in the car the last couple of meetings, but he's not racing here this weekend. So the youngster who raced at Brands is in the car, and there is Salvador Duran of Mexico. He had that coming together with Germany, but he can still give us a wave, and we'll see whether Mexico can pick up points. It's going to be hard from back there, but coming into this meeting, they were 7th in the championship before with the sprint race. Of course, losing out a little bit, they've now dropped to 11th as a result of the incident with Germany.
Yes, I think the key to this race is going to be how you plan your pit stops, whether you get opportunistically a good one or whether it's just where you've decided to come in, having decided so prior.
Let's hear now from Sheikh
I hope
Maktoum.
you enjoy the show. As promised in Portugal, we promised that we'd be here and would provide some good entertainment, some good family fun. I congratulate you on your win today and beating New Zealand. And I wish New Zealand and Australia the best of luck in this competition. Gentlemen, for the pride of your nations, start your engines.
And the signal is given, and 24 A1 Grand Prix V8 engines are fired up. And France will be looking to try and take win number 6 here today. Well, what a roll they're on, but surely that roll will come to an end at some point. I'm not sure it's going to be today, because the class, the performance we've seen from Team France and from Lapierre has been exceptional here in Australia.
Yes, it's not going to come from a lack of performance. It's going to come from a circumstance beyond, let's say, what is in the hands of Nicolas Lapierre or Team France. It could be an incident going into turn 2. It could be maybe just getting caught out with the safety car or anything in the pit lane itself.
So let's have a look as they get ready for the formation lap. Remember, it is going to be a standing start when they come back around to the grid positions, and the green flag is waved. Away they go then, and they can do a little practice start. Watch for any cars stalling. We've had a few problems with cars stalling as they try and pull away either on the formation lap or on the real start. But I think looking down from our commentary position, they've all moved away cleanly, yes.
Yes, everybody's gone through it. You can see there already some of the dust I was talking about. It doesn't look too bad then, but cars are not all bunched together at the standing start. One other fact that's just been sent up to us from pit lane is that track temperature has risen, and it's up now to a very steamy, very hot 46 degrees Celsius. That is also a significant factor in this 40 laps feature race. Again, teams have got to adjust their cars. They will have done so, no doubt, between the sprint and the feature race, but making sure that the back end of the car, that's the area where most people have had to work on here this weekend to ensure consistency. It's going to be a tough race with 46 degrees track temperature.
Running on board, Team Ireland with Michael Devaney. What a great run to 4th place in the first race here today. And Team Ireland's campaign much better on track now, with a 3rd last time out in Portugal and now 4th here this weekend. But they're going to have pressure on them from Team Great Britain, there's no doubt about that. Robbie Kerr's right in there with him. He finished 5th, starts in 5th place. Towards the back, we've got some quick guys to watch out for. South Africa, Mexico, Germany and the Czech Republic bringing up the rear. So they're going to have to try and fight their way up the order The likes of New Zealand starting 14th with USA 15th. We're going to have to watch just about every area of the pack here because there'll be dices going on throughout the field, I'm sure. There is the Chinese car of Tang Yijian, and after that, fairly heavy impact. It was a 100 mile an hour impact with the tyre barrier he had here in free practice. But thankfully, the team did a great job of getting the spare car built up, and he hasn't seemed to have lost any confidence as a result.
I know, and also physically, which is probably the most important element of that accident. You get a neck stretch when you hit something solid, as he did at that speed, and stop pretty much where you hit the barrier. So he's looking reasonably well physically, and his confidence has grown. He's shown at different points through the weekend there is pace there. It's just about getting a little bit more experience and certainly some more consistency. And it'll not be long before we do see China getting into the points. And of course, as we have said previously, looking forward to going to Shanghai on the 2nd of April for the final of the 12-round race series in A1GP.
Right, here we go then. Cars are now heading down the main straight and will pull up into their allocated grid positions. That means France on pole, Portugal on the inside. Watch out for cars on the inside and perhaps not getting quite the grip and traction. It is the dirtier side of the track, but on the other hand, we've had a few races here this weekend, so hopefully those inside lines have been cleaned up by tyres from other formulae. On to his grid position, here comes Robbie Kerr. Now he is on the outside, that's the preferable side probably in terms of getting some grip away from the line, but still a number of cars to line up.
Yes, and I'm looking to Team GBR and Robbie Kerr. They're going to try and jump Team Ireland to get that 4th place as they go around into turn 1, and I think that certainly is going to be a little pinch point as we see the cars come up onto the grid and then wait for the lights to go red and then go out. So watch around the 3rd, 2nd row of the grid, particularly with Team Ireland and Team GBR.
The feature race at Eastern Creek Raceway is about to get underway. It's the 8th race of A1 Grand Prix. Team France are looking for their 6th win. Can they do it, or will they be beaten off the line? It's Portugal on the front row with them. Watch out for the battle behind as Brazil gets away from 3rd place on the grid. Ireland challenging. Not a good start from Team Ireland, and they're under threat initially as they come into the first corner. Switzerland making a good start there. Oh, a bunching going on through turn 1, but they've made it through there safely and heading down towards turn 2. And France is 2nd. Portugal lead. France and Brazil battling for 2nd as Ireland go on to the dirt.
Yes, Ireland did get squeezed out by GBR, and as a consequence, they've gone off at turn 1. I think Japan left on the grid another white car. We couldn't quite see what it was, but look at that, over that bump, which again, look at the group of cars in that midfield bunched right up together.
And Great Britain have had a good start as well. They're up near the front, but the race leader is Portugal. It's France in 2nd, who just managed to fend off Brazil. And Portugal have got a brilliant getaway here. Now can we see another country win in A1 Grand Prix? Alvaro Parent leads. France 2nd, Brazil 3rd, Great Britain in 4th place. Robbie Kerr putting the pressure on Nelson Piquet Jr. And then I think it's the Swiss car of Neil Yarni.
So Piquet in 3rd place, Great Britain in 4th. Ireland dropped all the way back because of that squeeze going through turn 2. So a lot of work for Michael Devaney to do as we see the cars again, that tail of the field, really nowhere to go. Just have to wait until they come up to turn 12 and then think about it going down Main Straight.
Notice Canada was right at the back, so it all went wrong for Canada on the opening lap. Look at the lead that Alvaro Parent has got. Now the task for Team France to close up that gap. And look at Great Britain.
Britain and Brazil, Great Britain and Team Brazil as they come down the straight. Robbie Kerr, can he pull out? He's not going to be close enough, but he's side by side, almost touching wheels left, rear, right, front. Now that he have a dive down the inside, Piquet can defend. He moves down the inside, he takes it, but can Piquet switch back? He's got the momentum. Kerr tries to close the door. Piquet forced onto the curb. Very, very aggressive driving from both drivers.
Great move from Robbie Kerr. Great Britain go up into 3rd place, and Kerr is 3rd, Piquet is 4th, and Robbie Kerr really went for that hard. They were both using power boost, and Brazil using it quite a lot there, but Piquet has ended up back in 4th position. And Great Britain are now in 3rd place.
A very, very good challenge down the inside by Team GBR. Piquet tried to hold position. He tried to make the cut back, but Kerr was able to recover sufficiently to defend that newly found 3rd position, and he's consolidating.
Well, an interesting opening lap, or a couple of laps here. Certainly lots happening. Look at Australia are well up. They're up to 7th. Australia having a great run. Pakistan and Team Ireland battling there. The 2 cars coming around in 10th and 11th places. I think Ireland's just managed to get past Russia. Yes, it has. So that brings Ireland back into 11th, but of course Michael Devaney should have been further up near the front. He just lost out at turn 2.
He lost out actually at turn 1 because Robbie Kerr got up along and inside him into turn 1. He tried to go the long way round, didn't pay, but here he is now. He's coming into the pits. Pit stop for Ireland already.
Early pit stop then for Team Ireland, and this is an interesting tactical choice, and a number of cars coming in from the back of the field.
5 in total have come in at the end of lap 2, so this is tactics already. A lot of teams, as I mentioned, they did not want to give up this opportunity of taking that very early pit stop. Michael Devaney was the first of those 5 cars, and there we see the Irish team indicating where he's got to get his car to. Clear pits. This is crucial because he's now got the opportunity to get in, out quickly. He can then make up time in clear air. He's got the natural speed. We saw that in the sprint race. He's now got that opportunity when he goes back out on track.
Now remember, the pit time there is recording it from coming pit in to pit out. It's the whole stop from start to finish in the pit lane. 31.8. That looked like a good stop for Ireland. Let's see how the others get on. Germany, Canada and Austria all in the pits at the same time. So is India. 32.0 for Canada. That's not a bad effort. But you can see the Irish pit stop was the fastest of all of those.
Yes, and that will play to the strength of Michael Devaney, who ran strongly in the sprint race. But we're back at the front, and look at Alvaro Parente, Team Portugal. That gap he gained on the first lap, well, it's stabilised. It's probably now closing. It was 1.1 as he came across at the end of the third lap. It's now just 1 second. So Team France is eking down that advantage.
Australia are on the attack. You could see closing up to the back of the Malaysian car. 6th place Malaysia, 7th place for Australia. Here we are on board with Will Davison, and he's got an opportunity here perhaps to make some progress, get some more points in the early stages still of the feature race. All of the top 10 yet to make their stops. Of course, they're going to wait a while longer, as we've seen other guys further back making their stops early on. Down the hill they come. Watch out for the Netherlands, right in behind Australia as well. Into the pits for an early stop as well. Team USA, Brian Herter at the wheel.
You know, for the teams that are running in the middle of the field to the back, the smart thing to do is to make that pit stop early. As long as you've got a car that is reasonably well balanced, you can get in, you don't have any pressure on the pit stop itself. You get back out, then you run in clear air. You're not being impeded by cars around you. If you stayed out and maybe waited until the back end of the race, you would lose track position, but ultimately you would lose time, and that would be the key to your final position.
Talking of losing time, John, Portugal is being caught by Team France. Look at these 2 cars. Portugal had a big lead a little while ago, but France is getting closer and closer. Nicolas Lapierre for Team France bearing down on the Portuguese car, and he's just trying to play it patiently. He might have lost out at the start, but this is a long race. There's plenty of time to go. There's a pit stop to deal with as well, and he's now just getting that little bit closer to the back of the Portuguese car. Great Britain running in 3rd, Brazil in 4th, Switzerland in 5th, then it's Malaysia and Australia flashing past the camera at turn 1.
So Nicolas Lapierre and Team France will close down to the back of Team Portugal. Let's look again at the start and see the 3rd car on the right. That's Robbie Kerr. He got a great start, got alongside Team Ireland, then move over to the right. And once Robbie Kerr is through, then behind all more cars. So Ireland coming down on the outside, and that is the reason why that Ireland ultimately lost out, because they were in the wrong part of the track when it counted.
Just trying to see what happened up front, because it was just a bad start, a little bit of a poor start by France, and Portugal sailed away, didn't they, with the lead right from the start there. So France just didn't get off the line at all well, and so busy looking behind. Portugal made a brilliant standing start. It was just a beautiful start from Parente.
And look how busy it was at the tail of the field as cars sweep from right to left, and those on the left-hand side saying, look, we're here already. There you watch Ireland. Michael Devaney just too late in the brakes. He thought he might have had a chance to sneak back and get one of those places he had lost, but too quick into turn 2, outbraked himself, went off track. Now it's down to the team who've done a good job in their pit stop, and once again Michael Devaney to try and find some of the ground he lost.
That really was a lightning getaway by Parente, but France did well to fend off Brazil. Now look at looking at that replay. France got down the inside. Brazil had to give him room, and it was Devaney who ended up on the grass.
Yes, just a driver error on the part of Michael Devaney.
So I think it was Canada who ended up...
Oh, Australia, that is a big shot.
No, not Australia, it's South Africa. South Africa has had a big accident, but the driver already out and clear of the car. That's Stephen Simpson, he's fine, but that has hit the wall hard. Now, can we see what happened here?
It's coming out of turn 7. Now, we've not seen a car off track there at any point over the weekend, and that's either a question of maybe something on the car, or he just took too much right foot on the throttle, and Stephen Simpson stands there, he's unhurt. But that was a heavy impact, a lot of damage down the right hand side, and Team Italy in the garage. Looks like their afternoon now is over.
Oh, what a shame for Italy. That's end of race, as you say, for them, and doesn't look as though they're in any rush to get him back out again either. So a terminal problem for Team Italy, as Portugal still lead, but look how close France is now. It's Alvaro Parent versus Nicolas Lapierre. Third place still for Great Britain, but Great Britain's Robbie Kerr's got to watch out for Nelson Piquet Jr. behind. Look at the power boosts though. Great Britain using theirs and Brazil using theirs as well in that battle that's going on behind for third position, as France now already beginning to look for an option to get past Portugal.
Well, the problem that France have got is that they're going to find it difficult to pass on pace. They're capable of running even quicker. They're capable of running much quicker, but we've just heard that in fact Portugal have been penalised a drive-through for a jump start. So in fact, now we know the story of what took place at the start. It was a jump start by Portugal, and Nicolas Lapierre is in effect the leader of the race.
Oh, what a disappointment for Alvaro Parent. Well, the start did look mega there, we have to say, but it's been deemed a jump start. We're now riding on board with Piquet, and this will become, of course, the race for second position. Once Portugal do their drive-through penalty, it means this will become the race for second place between Robbie Kerr of Great Britain and Nelson Piquet Jr. of Brazil.
So Alvaro Parent won a big lock-up for Robbie Kerr as he comes into turn 9, and that's not necessarily pressure from behind, that's just Robbie trying to maximise the speed he's got in his car to pull away from Piquet. Nelson Piquet Jr. effectively in third place. We expect Alvaro Parent, Team Portugal, he should peel off track now. Of course, he's not allowed to stop on his way through to make a tyre wheel change. He's going to continue doing another lap. He's entitled to do so, but the longer he stays out, I think the longer it'll take him to get back and have a chance of challenging.
Oh dear, Germany's off again. Adrian Sutil, what's happened this time, I wonder? Any other cars we can see in the background?
No, that looks like it's off. In fact, at turn 1, that was a big off.
Brazil into the pits for their tyre change, and this is a crucial stop there. Nelson Piquet Jr., the Brazilian team, go to work, and we've seen a very good stop so far from Team Ireland. It came out at a total of 31.8 seconds from pit in to pit out. Brazil are quite early pits in the pit lane here, and looking good, although no problem on the right front. He's had to go for another wheel nut.
Oh!
Mexico again, and Czech Republic and Lebanon off as well. Lebanon just managed to avoid them. He should be able to rejoin.
And I don't know what the Lebanon were doing there. He was not involved at all in that incident. It was between two other cars, and suddenly Lebanon just finds itself adding a show that was 2 cars to make it 3, and luckily there shouldn't be any injury, certainly.
A slower stop than planned for Brazil. This could give Great Britain a chance of taking second place on the pit stops once Parent has made his drive-through penalty. France will be leading this race, and Robbie Kerr will be second for Great Britain, but he's got his pit stop to do still. We saw a problem for Brazil, and that means Piquet's going to have his work cut out here this afternoon.
Alvaro Parent peels off. He's now going to drive. He's not going to drive. He is both. And France were going to come in and make a pit stop, and the French team said, no, stay out, stay out. You've got the advantage. Now you've got clear air. You can pull away your tyres. Your car's in good shape. Use that to advantage. And when we feel it's time to come in, then we will give you instruction.
So Parent, as you told us, John, not allowed to change his wheels, but behind him, Switzerland is coming in for a scheduled stop.
And that may have been part of the reason, because the Swiss team and the French team worked virtually garage to garage, so it would not have been in the interest of either to have both cars, both nations changing tyres at the same time.
So Portugal rejoins, having done their drive-through penalty, and coming out ahead there on, let's just see, is that Pakistan? Yes, the Pakistan car in 8th place, but the safety car is going to be coming out on circuit. So this is going to bunch everyone up, and of course, with some pit stops to be made, this could work well for some teams that haven't made their pit stop yet. If the teams are quick to call a pit stop, get them in early, then they'll be in good shape. Let's see how the teams react to the news that the safety car is going to be on circuit. Are we going to see France and Great Britain diving into the pits under safety car conditions? It would certainly help them to do that. Let's watch them. They're coming up to the last part of the lap. The safety car comes out onto the circuit. France lead this race at the moment from Great Britain and Portugal. Malaysia now running in 4th place, and into the pits come the leaders for their pit stop.
They had to do it, they had no choice. The safety car was leaving pit lane now. The safety car will have to wait and pick up who then is the actual leader. Malaysia comes in as well, so we're going to see probably the majority of the field making the pit stop. And the first car that made a pit stop in the earlier part of the race was in fact Ireland, currently in 13th place, and Ireland could technically become the leader of this race.
Well, let's see what happens. It's France versus Great Britain in the pits this time, and who is going to get the edge here? What pressure is on these guys? The two teams go to work. The wheels are on, but are they all on? It's a great stop from Great Britain, but it's not enough. France have done likewise. Oh, what wonderful timing from both teams. France and Great Britain virtually to the second, surely. A 33.9 for France, a 34.5 for Great Britain. France actually had the edge, and they will stay in front, and Robbie Kerr of Great Britain will be in 2nd place, as everybody else also, well, those who haven't made their stops, have dived into the pits under this safety car period.
But of course the safety car is still out on track, and that will be out there until all the teams are bunched together. So we see the record goes and picks up as we wait for the safety car. They'll flag by these cars. These are all cars will ever, in fact, is France, but the 2 cars ahead ought to be waved by to enable them to catch up to the end of the chain. Then again, this is coming Mexico, Russia, and just simply Mexico outbreaking itself, Russia not. And look, Lebanon, how it avoided riding over the right rear of the Russian car is beyond me. Basil Shaban, certainly that time, well and truly wrong-footed.
Yeah, let's just take another look at this. This was before we saw the pit stop starting. Mexico had a look down the inside. Pakistan locked up ahead, but that didn't make too much difference. Mexico's having a horrible day, isn't it? That's the 2nd time that Salvador Duran's ended up out of the race at the turn number 2.
Well, A1GP is having a horrible time because we've seen more damage, suspension and bodywork damage in these 2 races than probably we've seen in any of the 4 so far. Now the safety car has got the leader? No, he hasn't.
I think he'll wait until he's got everybody probably before he waves those 2 other cars through.
But then they'll have to do a complete lap before we can release the safety car.
There's the Russian driver, Roman Rusinov, out of his car as well, so that's another retirement, I'm afraid, from this one. So out of the race, we've lost Russia, Mexico, Germany, Italy and South Africa in these relatively early stages still of the feature race from Eastern Creek Raceway. The Japanese car and the Lebanese car that are behind safety car, they're actually running, let's see, down in 19th place for Japan, and Lebanon actually being shown as race leader now because they have not made their pit stop. So Lebanon leads this race. It's only 1 car, John, that's going to have to be waved through.
Yes, so the first car to make a stop was Ireland. They are in fact in 7th place. They didn't quite make it to the top of the field, and it is in fact Lebanon, which is probably the only car, or one of the very few cars that has yet to make its stop. So for a brief moment we've got Lebanon leading here in Eastern Creek.
Let's see how, he stalled it. The Chinese driver stalled the engine and they weren't ready. See, no, some of the other teams have been sort of prepared, pushing the car or bump starting it. They weren't quite ready to get him going there. So, being waved past is the Japanese car, and now we've picked up the race leader. That's right, it's Lebanon, because they are the only car that's still running in this race that's not made its pit stop.
Ben, when the safety car goes in, there will be a charge like you have never seen, because Lebanon for the first time is in the lead of an A1 Grand Prix race. This is the feature race. All the pit stops have probably taken place with the exception of Lebanon, maybe 1 or 2 others at the tail. Their Lebanese team absolutely delighted, but what's going to happen when the safety car goes back into the pit lane? You've got race or potential race winner directly behind, and I mean it's just going to be a very exciting start into turn 1, but probably more likely into turn 2. It just depends how much Basil Shaban in Lebanon car decides to be feisty and defend his lead.
Flags are waving already for Basil Shaban. He's leading a round of A1 Grand Prix. I tell you what, this is also going to give Great Britain, Switzerland, Netherlands real hope, because France, of course, could have a problem getting past Lebanon once the race restarts, and those guys who are behind could be in with a shout of gaining some places here. Look at that, Lebanon P1. That's something that they weren't expecting to see.
And of course for Basil Shaban, this is new territory. He's never been in a situation, never had to deal with the pressure, and of course he knows behind him is effectively the race leader, and he's also got pressure coming from Team GBR and Switzerland, Netherlands, Malaysia, Ireland, Australia, Portugal, New Zealand round out the top 10.
let's just remind you that the Lebanese team principal Taman Ouchi, it's the first time that there's been an Arab-owned single-seater international racing team. P1 goes out to their driver, and Basil Shaban, the 25-year-old from Beirut, who has done a bit of karting. He's raced in America and raced in Formula Ford in the UK. Much less experienced than many of the drivers out there, but this is what A1 Grand Prix is about, giving these guys and these countries an opportunity to race in evenly matched cars, all identical cars, and it's up to their teams and the drivers to extract the best. Now, he does have to do his pit stop. When he's going to do that, we don't know, but for the moment, he's leading this race.
He doesn't have to do it until the 39th lap if he so chooses. Big loser, of course, in all that was Team Brazil with Nelson Piquet Jr. They had a problem on their right-hand front. He's done in 12th place.
Japan still trying to catch up the train, and that's why the safety car's still out there, waiting for Hayanari Shimoda to catch up to the back of the group as they make their way round. But yes, John, that Brazilian drop to 12th place, that pit stop really was an utter disaster for them.
Yes, and Shimoda's only got now, well, just under a quarter of the circuit behind the snake of cars under the safety car, so he'll make that up. Basically, by the time they get round to turn 12, he will be right up on the tail. Here's a replay of what took Mexico much quicker than Russia. Took the dive down the inside. Wasn't really far enough up to take the corner. Russia began to turn in. Probably actually began to turn away slightly, but Mexico was so committed. And then we just see the Levin car just diving. How it avoided the right rear of the Team Russia car, I'm surprised. And there he is in the lead.
Well, that's the end result, yeah. He's now leading this race from France, Great Britain, Switzerland, Netherlands, Malaysia in 6th. Now, Ireland are in 7th, so they've managed to reclaim some of the ground they lost early on. Portugal, with their drive-through penalty, are down in 9th place. They have completed their wheel change pit stop as well, just to let you know. They did come in as well, again, for a second time, so Portugal are now 9th.
Yes, so they've got some hope, certainly, of getting points. Whether they get more than 9th or maybe 7th or 6th, it's difficult to tell, because when these cars are released to restart the race, as we've seen in the sprint race, here we go, safety car pulling in.
Safety car in, we're about to get the race underway again. Lebanon leads here, and they will cross the line, racing hard with Team France. Great Britain didn't make a very good restart there. They've been left behind as France goes on the attack into turn 1. He's being cautious, and sensibly so, perhaps, just to see how Chaban places the car. Here comes France down the inside, reclaims the lead of this race, and Chaban's moment of glory over, perhaps, although he's still up there in 2nd. And now it's Great Britain. They'll have the task of getting past the Lebanese driver, and there's a lot of places to overtake on this section.
No, there's not, unless it's Basil Shaban and Team Lebanon car make an error. But for Team GBR, Robbie Kerr, he had a poor restart. He has not had good restarts at any of the safety car interventions so far this weekend. They're coming through 5, trying to get up alongside into 6. But no way, and Basil Shaban is there on Murray. He doesn't have to give up anything, but locks up the right front as he goes into turn 7. Now, Robbie Kerr looking to try and get alongside into 8. No way he can do so. He maybe, and he gets sideways. Of course, right behind Team GBR is Team Switzerland. Look how much the cars are being backed up. Nobody wants to tell. There now, the move is being made. Lebanon pulls over to the left. Team GBR goes through. Now Team Switzerland will try and get through going into 10. Be careful not to have Lebanon swipe across the front of your car. That could be a nose in the pit stop.
Yeah, but Great Britain's through, but of course this has allowed Team France an opportunity to edge away, and they really used that half a lap that they had clear air, and now Team France have a big lead over Great Britain in 2nd place. Watch for the power boost being used, the flashing red, and that's the power boost, the extra power being used. Switzerland coming down the straight. Look at the pressure behind. Malaysia attacking Netherlands. Malaysia on the inside of Jos Verstappen, had to back out of it as Verstappen now makes the move on Basil Shaban and goes through.
Well, there's racing all the way through the field. Ireland also got into a situation where they started to use more than the one move across the track. That'll be under observation, no doubt, from Team Race Director Tim Schenken.
Yeah, in the background, Brazil just got past New Zealand as well. Brazil managed to just squeeze through, and that puts Brazil up into 10th place. So Piquet Jr. nipped past. Portugal there after their drive-through penalty. They're in behind Australia. They're running in 8th and 9th places. And as we come up the hill here, riding on board here with Australia, chasing after Team Ireland. And Team France are just being given a chance to run away. There's Great Britain, Switzerland, the Netherlands, and then Lebanon, Malaysia in the next one to try and get past that Lebanese car.
Well, this is where Basil Shaban locked up big time. There again, he does it going in to turn 9, runs wide and opens the door for Malaysia and Australia. Australia not quite close enough to sweep through, but have the momentum. But can they get alongside into turn 10? If they can't do it, they're going to have to be patient, back off. use the power boost button when you come in. It comes alongside, but will Shaban let him get through?
Yes,
he's closed. Yes, he's done it.
Shaban went a bit too wide there. That was this corner. We saw a lot of mistakes in free practice, and Portugal also going through there as well, getting past the Lebanese driver. And watch out behind them, we've got Ireland and Brazil. Brazil having got past New Zealand on the last lap, but Lebanon staying just ahead of Michael Devaney of Ireland. And then Brazil, Piquet's taking advantage here. Piquet's down the inside. He's got past one of them. He's got past Ireland. And can he now get past Lebanon as well?
Well, Ireland and Brazil side by side in turn 2, but Piquet and Brazil have got the advantage. Ireland has to fall back into line. New Zealand now challenging Ireland. Look at Michael Devaney working like a dervish to try and keep Ireland's car out of the grips of New Zealand.
That was clever racing by Piquet there, because he just judged that to perfection. And I thought he might try and go for Lebanon as well, but sensibly he backed out of that. Now he's got the task of getting past the Lebanese car and gaining on. What was that?
Just a big lock-up from Alvaro Parent. But Piquet has got to be patient. He wants to get past. He's got the speed to get past. He just has to wait until a bit of track comes up. It's been in the last 2 laps into turn 9 where Shaban is locked up for Team Lebanon, this time on the inside. Piquet tries to go around the outside. Forget it, you're leaving the door open, Piquet, to allow other cars to come. Look, traffic everywhere.
They're pouring past him. New Zealand have managed to get past Team Ireland in all that. So there, the black car ahead now of Team Ireland. So New Zealand gaining a position maybe up into the points, just up into the points. Oh, but we hear that Brazil have picked up a drive-through penalty. Would you believe it? For a pit lane infringement. Something went wrong on their pit stop, and they didn't do it according to the rules apparently. And Piquet is going to have to come back through the pits again.
So we're looking at Team Ireland chasing Team New Zealand. Just behind we've got Team USA. Brian Herter suddenly finding speed that really has not been there all weekend.
Yeah, so New Zealand, then Ireland. Look at this, Canada down the inside there. And now Canada getting past Lebanon. Austria trying to do likewise. And poor old Basil, he's dropping down the order quickly now.
Well, the best thing is he's not made a mistake that's involved an incident. He's driven under extreme pressure with lots of cars much faster than him, much more experienced, and he's done a good job. I have to give credit to where it's due, and Basil Shaban for Team Lebanon is doing an outstanding job.
And so's this man. That's our race leader. It's Nicolas Lapierre for Team France, who now has a 5-second lead over Great Britain. Robbie Kerr runs in second place, but with the time lost behind Lebanon after the restart, not a lot he could do about that. Malaysia running 5th, Australia there in 6th place. Australia winning the battle with New Zealand again, because New Zealand's down in 9th. There's New Zealand, the black car, followed by Team Ireland in 10th.
So this battle, it's been really a reverse battle for Ireland. They've gone backwards after having had a great grid position. They lost out in turn 2. Now locks up. There's the flag indicating to Brazil they've got to come in and make that penalty drive through for a unconfirmed infringement. It may have been maybe more than one corner worker assisting. Remember, we saw he had a problem in that right front wheel. Maybe that's where the infringement was occurring.
Oh, well, it's just they haven't had a lot of luck in the pits recently, Brazil, and it's costing them dearly, unfortunately for Piquet, because he's racing hard, but he's going to lose a lot of time. He'll leave it probably till the last moment, but it's still going to drop him way down the order and out of the points. Into the pits for his pit stop now. His tyre change has come, Basil Shaban. He led the race. That was glory enough for the moment, and now it's time to put the new tyres on.
Well, there's no need to hurry here, because it's going to be a smooth pit stop, get him back out on the racetrack. Look at that. France and Nicolas Lapierre. Now he's really using the maximum he's got with both tyres and the car. His lead, as he came across the line at the end of 16 laps, or 9 seconds, and it's probably going to increase beyond that, certainly into 7 seconds over Team GBR, who are under pressure from Team Switzerland. Remember, Neil Yarni complaining about unwell, being ill throughout the week, and feeling weak after 10 laps of the 20-lap sprint race. Well, I'll tell you what, when you focus your concentration on adrenaline or operating at 100%, you forget about weakness. Just get in and drive the car.
Now, what are we going to see? I should imagine we'll see Piquet having to peel into the pits this time around. Coming out of the final corner, this is where we'll expect to see him cross over into the pit lane. I think he was heading that direction.
Yes, he turned in.
So he's in for his drive-through penalty. Meanwhile, the battles continue on further back. Japan running in 18th place, and they are battling with China for 17th, with India ahead. So India, China and Japan. The Far East have got, or Middle East and Far East have got their own battle going on at the back there. As for his drive-through penalty, here comes Brazil. And it's just gone wrong again for them in the feature race. Oh, and there's more contact.
And Czech Republic and Lauda, Team Austria, they contact down in turn 2. And one wonders really, I mean, it's not difficult, it's not a hard corner. I mean, two drivers racing, and I suspect the Czech Republic was the marginally quicker of the two cars, or maybe it was the other way around. We don't know. We hope to get a replay on that one. But for the second time in two races, Czech Republic out in turn 2.
Surely this will bring the safety car, and if they can't separate those two cars, maybe they'll be able to, but it looks a bit as though they're interlocked there, which is an awful position for them to be in. There is our race leader. Of course, it means his lead will be closed up, and Great Britain, yep, safety car out. Great Britain will have a chance to be right up behind Team France, but looking at the pace that France have, they've set the fastest lap at a 1:21.016. Massive pace they have here at Eastern Creek. It's going to be very tough for Robbie Kerr and for Great Britain to pass the French car, and they're on for a great result, a second place.
I mean, the second place is probably where they are rightfully positioned right now. They haven't got the out-and-out pace that we've seen from Team France, but Robbie has got to help himself a bit more. He's not made the best restarts under the safety car, had 3 of them over 2 races, and so far he's not been right on the throttle when it needs it. Well, it's in fact Thomas Enger, the more experienced of the two drivers, and Mateusz Lauda just took his line, and one has to say the blame for that one lies really with the Czech Republic. He didn't commit himself, he wasn't far enough out, and consequently the position for both drivers is retirement at turn 2.
Well, there we are.
He looks
it's a difficult one, isn't it? You'd have thought that perhaps there would have been, I don't know, awareness. Maybe they could have given each other a bit of space.
They both could have given each other room to work. The trouble is, once a driver is committed, as the Czech Republic was, although he wasn't alongside going into the corner, when you are into a closing gap, and that gap was closing continuously, the inevitable is going to happen, and that's where inexperience on the part of maybe Mateusz Lauda contributed to an incident that was an avoidable incident, in my opinion.
So, safety car is out again. We've got 22 laps still to go in this race, and let's just remind you what's going on. France are leading. Their gap has now, of course, been completely annihilated. They did have a 9-second lead before the safety car came out, but it's France, Great Britain and Switzerland, the top 3. So Giuliani's going okay, despite not feeling very well. He's still in 3rd. Netherlands in 4th, Malaysia 5th, then Australia in 6th place. Portugal, after leading early on and having a drive-through penalty, are now 7th. New Zealand 8th, Ireland 9th, and Canada in 10th place. Then 11th is USA, 12th Pakistan, 13th India, 14th for China, 15th for Japan, and Brazil, now having made their drive-through penalty, are down in 16th place, with the final runner now, the Lebanese car, running in 17th. So Brazil, the big loser. John, I think there's some news, isn't there, as to what happened to Brazil?
Yes, in fact, it wasn't, as I thought, maybe an additional worker working in that right front corner. It was actually equipment was left in the pit lane before the car, and as the car went out. So that's a tough call, but these are the regulations. You've got to ensure that everything is clear before the car goes out of the pits. So steely-eyed steward or marshal saw that, was reported up, and for Brazil, that's a penalty which it will be difficult to recover from. They're currently running in 16th place with 21 laps to go, and unless we have other incidents, which are of course not entirely unexpected, that will be tough for Team Brazil even to get into the points. The teams above them are Japan, China, India, Pakistan and USA. Automatically you'd assume he can get past those teams without any difficulty whatsoever. Look at this, racing drivers running around racetracks. You don't see that too often. Well, the reason is that it was their own faults.
Well, they're all having to try and make their way back to the pits now, but it's unfortunate, isn't it? It's such a shame to lose so many of the cars in this race. It's all part of the fun and games, I suppose.
But of course, it also puts pressure on the organisation, because with the number of parts that are damaged, particularly rear suspensions and front noses and nose boxes, these teams are going to be packing up on Wednesday. The cars are going to be transported to Malaysia. The teams will then get them and have to start the process of rebuilding or continuing rebuilding, and of course getting the spare parts delivered to those teams and have the cars then prepared for the first of the practice sessions on the Friday of a fortnight from now.
So leaders still following the safety car around. France having seen their gap reduced to nothing. Great Britain in with a chance perhaps, so is Switzerland, of attacking on the restart. Australia running quite well, it's 6th place now, and this will give the local fans something to cheer about, because with the safety car closing all the cars together, maybe they'll sense an opportunity for Australia to move further up inside, perhaps to the top 5 before the end of this race. 21 laps to go in the feature race from Eastern Creek Raceway. We've lost a number of cars: South Africa, Italy, Germany, Mexico, Russia, the Czech Republic and Austria, all out of this race, but that leaves 17 cars still in. It's France that have the advantage over Great Britain and Switzerland, but we're going to be seeing a restart in a few moments' time. Not just yet, the safety car light's still on. They come across the line one more time as they still attempt to clear away some of the stricken cars from turn number 2. And with a lot of work to do is Brazil. They're currently running down in 16th place as a result of a drive-through penalty picked up for not removing all their equipment from their pit lane after making their pit stop. Of course, there are potential dangers there because other cars are still making their pit stops, perhaps running across the front of the Brazilian pit as they accelerate down the pit lane. So it's a rule that's there for safety reasons.
Yes, and it's very important that all these rules are observed. And when you've got pit stops, there's so much action in the pit lane, cars entering, cars being worked on, cars leaving. So there are very strict sets of guidelines as to what you can and cannot do, and if somebody makes an error, the penalty is that the team is penalised and it's not just the driver.
So everyone just drawing breath and getting a chance to regroup, get a feel for the car and wonder whether they're going to be able to attack. 6 power boosts are left on Will Davison's car. That's the little 6 indicator on the graphic at the bottom there. That's as many as most. I think the Netherlands still have quite a few to use. They've got 7 power boosts available to them, and India as well haven't used many of theirs. They're still trying to look. There's a real car park, salvage yard over there at turn 2, an A1 salvage yard, but thankfully there's a bit of space for them.
Well, we've got 4 cars lined up there, and we thought turn 2 might be a problem corner. We didn't anticipate it being such a problem. It's not particularly difficult. All you have to do is anticipate when you're racing with cars, not just brake where you think you could brake when you're driving on your own. And of course, that's what we've seen many drivers do. They just misunderstand that they do have to lift off fractionally earlier and get on the brakes to ensure that when the car does commit, that they're not in no man's land. That's the inevitable of taking a dive down the inside of a corner. We saw that with Team Austria car, that once the commitment is made, you can't back out of it.
So Great Britain hoping that they'll be able to get a slightly better start. Safety car lights are out. We're going to be getting this race underway once again, and it's Nicolas Lapierre who judges the moment at which he begins to accelerate. There he goes, and again, come on Robbie Kerr left behind there for Great Britain, and Lapierre
4 times he's done that.
Just shooting away there, and Kerr has got to watch out because he's going to have pressure on here from Switzerland as the race gets underway again. The Netherlands running 4th, Malaysia 5th, and look at what's going on behind
us. Ireland and New Zealand coming down the main straight. Ireland retakes that place from New Zealand. They lost it earlier in the race, so up to 9th place.
Hope he managed to complete that after the line, otherwise there could be trouble. Ooh, that was tight as Portugal tried to squeeze inside Australia there. That was for 6th position. Australia just behind Malaysia at the moment, the 2 yellow cars, as bouncing over that big leap there, down out of turn 3. We saw the leaders, and New Zealand, as you say, has been passed there by Team Ireland. And we gather that Italy are rejoining the race. Look, they were in the pits for ages, but they are rejoining.
So we don't know what the problems that Team Italy had. Certainly they were in the pits for some 20 minutes and now back out onto the racetrack. And of course, you never know. We've seen cars retire, we've seen cars crash out. There's points down to 10th place. You've got the opportunity to go out. It's probably unlikely, but you just don't know.
So down the hill they come, and you can see Canada versus the United States. That's a nice little battle to watch for, because that is for the final point. Canada 10th, United States 11th.
Brazil and Nelson Piquet Jr. running behind Team China. That's a position that should be relatively easy for Brazil to snatch away. But of course, they've got to be careful. It's too easy to just run up to the back of a slower car and underestimate the braking speed. So now, getting out of turn 12, picking up the slipstream of China. China has got 1 shot left, and Brazil has got none. Brazil has got nothing left.
It's got nothing left at all. But here is Brazil now on the charge. Now we've seen Piquet pull off a few moves at the next corner. If he gets a good run through turn 1, will he go for the inside? Looking there at Ireland and New Zealand. Oh, and it's all a bit action-packed as China goes off. Well, we didn't quite see what was going on. I think Piquet went for the move.
I think he sold him a dummy, frankly. I think that's what happened. Zhang Yijang was caught out by the much more experienced and a lot cannier Brazilian driver Piquet Jr.
Yeah, now he's got to try and get past India. That will be for 13th position, still outside the points, still a bit of work to be done, and it'll get tougher as he moves up. Tang Yizhang getting out of the car, and that's a shame because it didn't look as though it was damaged, but presumably it's stalled and he isn't able to get the car restarted. Race leader France, second, Great Britain third, Switzerland all locking the brakes. Netherlands looking feisty. Jos Verstappen close behind the Swiss driver, who we know might be struggling in the latter stages of this race for fitness. I'm sure he was pretty relieved to get the safety car out just now. Malaysia and Australia here racing hard against one another. Alex Young for Malaysia, Will Davison for Australia, then it's Portugal in 7th, Ireland in 8th, New Zealand in 9th, and then that race between Canada and the USA for the final point in 10th.
It's on board with Australia running up behind Malaysia. Both have got power boost remaining. Malaysia's got 5, Australia got 3. As they sweep through the flat out first turn and then head down to this problematic turn 2. Australia in no position to challenge Malaysia at this stage, but under pressure from Portugal, with Ireland also pressurising Portugal.
Brian Herter, the USA, had a little think about getting down the inside of Canada. What was happening behind? Yeah, Brazil making the move there on Pakistan, and they've got another place. So he's gained 2 places on that lap. He's got past both India and Pakistan.
Yes, and it's all going to happen down in turn 2. Remember, Brazil and PK have got no more power boost. There you see the 3 cars coming in. Now China just really outdrives itself. Almost PK getting involved with India. He was very lucky because India cut across early into the corner, that turn 2. Watch again as India turns in. PK's thinking, well, I can maybe slide up the inside. Suddenly he realises it's not going to happen, and Tang Yizhang somehow or other finds himself moved out to the right hand part of the track, and fortunately doesn't hit anything or do damage to his car, and that car in retirement.
17 laps remaining in the feature race here at Eastern Creek Raceway. France lead from Great Britain in 2nd, Switzerland in 3rd place. Then it's the Netherlands, Malaysia and Australia running in 6th. There's the race for 10th place between Canada and the USA. Youngster Sean McIntosh, who's moved up from Formula Renault, but has already featured on the podium in A1 Grand Prix. Right behind him is Brian Herter, a winner in IRL in Champ Cars, a real championship contender in top-level single-seater racing in the United States. But here he is in his first A1 Grand Prix event, and finding that it's all very close and very competitive. There's the Lebanese car putting some pressure on Japan. That's for 15th place. That is for position with his new tyres.
And he's having a go down the inside, and a good pass by Basil Chaban. But can he hold it? He does. He's going to go around the outside. He's going to have the advantage. Yes, he retains the advantage side by side. But Shimoda comes across the front, and Basil Chaban in Lebanon. Well, he's learning. He's probably learned in this race more than he's learned in his entire racing career, and I think he's enjoying it.
Yeah, it's great racing, isn't it? That's the point of A1. You get battles wherever you look, and certainly Japan and Lebanon having a good little dice there between the two of them. Side by side for a couple of corners. Japan emerging in front and holding on to 15th place. So 16th place for Lebanon. The rest of the cars out of this race. Just ahead of them is India. The youngster, Ahmed Ibrahim, 16-year-old, youngest driver in the race. He's just a few car lengths ahead of them at the moment as we return to the group that's sort of just at the bottom end of the top 10. And look how PK has caught up to the back of the American car. There is a Chinese driver, and that's nice to see the support. There's a lot of Chinese fans here, obviously, this weekend, and it's lovely to see the support he's getting. But here we go, look, PK in the green and yellow car, now tucked in behind Brian Herter of the United States, and this could get very, very interesting.
Well, Brian Herter's got 1 shot left of his power boost button, but PK and Brazil have got nothing left. The battle really is between Canada here, Sean McIntosh, and Brian Herter from Team USA. And PK's got the quicker car, and he goes up the inside. A mistake from Herter. He over-braked himself going into turn 2. That's an error from a driver of that.
Oh my goodness.
That is a bad accident.
We've seen a very, very big accident from somebody here. And I think it's the Japanese car. The back end of the car has been completely separated from the monocoque, the carbon fibre monocoque, the survival cell around the driver, and that has been a big, big accident.
Yes,
now,
we have a safety car immediately. That's an accident that will require a safety car on track, and we think that might have been it coming out of turn 1. We couldn't really get a wide enough view of the part of the circuit, but I suspect that was on the exit. Something either driver error or something beyond the driver's control has caused that accident, a very high-speed accident. When you see that level of damage to a car, but of course when the car does that, it looks much worse than it is. There's so much energy will be dissipated when the engine separates from the chassis, and there we see the car with Shimoda sitting there in the car. I mean, he will be dazed, bruised, and not really knowing quite what has happened to him as the medical and the safety workers get to that And now is is a red flag or what is it? No, safety car. It is a safety car, but be careful behind Robbie Kerr. You've got to slow down.
Well, the safety car on circuit then, and it is the French team ahead of Great Britain. This will bunch them all up again. There are 14 laps remaining in this race, but this is going to be a longish safety car period.
Something went wrong in turn one, very, very big time for Hayanari Shimoda. Whether he ran wide or whether there was contact with another car, but he made contact. Well, that's just the accident when it came to a stop. I mean, he's basically all right, except probably really bruised, shaken and stirred.
Yes,
and as I said, with the engine gearbox package, the survival cell is what's key to a driver in an incident like this.
Concern from the Japanese team pit wall, of course. They want to see how their driver is, and it's the first meeting that Hayanari Shimoda has been at the wheel of the Japanese car. The Japanese team missed the last round of the championship in Estoril, and driver who's got a lot of experience in sports car racing in particular, but obviously suffering a big accident there. So everybody else now, again, a chance to draw breath and just settle down, try and keep it calm as they wait to see how long this safety car period is going to last. It is France still leading from Great Britain and Switzerland, and Great Britain on to match their best result of the season so far. Robbie Kerr finished second in Germany after a tremendous fight back through the field. This time he's done it from a little further up the order, but he's driven very well. Further back, we saw just before that incident, Piquet had just managed to get past USA, and of course that now means that Brazil are on the verge of getting at least 1 point out of this. Oh, somebody's pulling off now.
I think that's Team Canada. I think it is.
Now he's got suspension damage.
I wonder, was there contact? I mean, that accident that occurred in turn one was not a normal accident. The car, we've seen cars go off in turn one, and they've gone off much further around the corner, and that's a right rear suspension. So there may well have been contact between Japan and Canada. We can't remember clearly if they were close together on the racetrack. It'll take a lot of time to clear that Team Japan car away, because everybody will be, first of all, most concerned of getting Hayanari Shimoda out of that car. Medical will be there, evacuation teams will be there to get him out of the car. They will not remove a driver from a car until he is stable. That's the normal procedure in events where you've got accidents at this level. Then it will be a case of clearing away the residue of the car, the bits and pieces of bodywork, the carbon fibre, most of which, fortunately, is way away to the right of this picture. We're not seeing it. We're just trying to look and see if there's any marks on track. There's one there you can see going across that piece of white rumble strip almost towards the end of the corner. Now, whether that's the Team Japan car, we can't see. But in the meantime, work is going on, and safety workers and medical crews will be working with Hayanari Shimoda to ensure he's comfortable and safe.
Now that Canada has pulled off, it means Brazil is in the points, and that means that he's up into 10th. There's Sean McIntosh out of the Canadian car, and what a shame for him, because he was on for getting some points. He'd been fending off Brian Herter for a number of laps, and now out of the race, nothing much he can do about that. It brings Brazil up into 10th place. New Zealand will be Piquet's next target when the race gets restarted. New Zealand currently running 9th, Ireland 8th, and Portugal in 7th. India there in the middle of the group. They're running 13th at the moment, so that's not a bad run. I think that's pretty much where they finished last time out. In Portugal they finished in 13th, so one further improvement there for Arman Abraham, and India will be on for their best result of the season. Still not in the points. There are the 4 nations that have yet to score any points at all, and they are Lebanon, China, India and Russia. We've lost China from the race already. We've lost Russia from the race, so the only 2 that could still score of those that haven't are India and Lebanon, and they're currently running in 13th and 14th places, 3 places outside a point scoring position. Now, we've just had news from medical car, Stephen Watson, who's out there, and medical delegate Paul Trafford, who's very experienced, who looks after racing in the UK as well. And the news is the driver is okay, the driver is fine, but they're taking their time to take him out of the just to make sure they don't aggravate any injury that might occur. But basically the driver's okay, and that's good news, John.
Yes, it is. I mean, that's the standard procedure at any event, certainly at an event of this magnitude, and it is of the utmost importance to ensure that the driver is not taken from a car. In the old days, the first thing people would do is dive in and drag a driver out. and frequently that could do more damage than was necessary. So there's no pressure on the medical workers. They just take their time, they get the driver stabilised. That's the key to any recovery in these situations. And then once he's been removed, they'll have a kind of a gurney which goes into the car, lifts the driver out, he'll be put on the ambulance, taken to the medical centre here at Eastern Creek Raceway, and then if he needs further medical attention, will be transported either by helicopter or by road to the nearest of the designated medical centres close to either in Sydney or in the Parramatta general area. And then, of course, the process of clearing up the residue of that accident, of course, that's going to have a significant bearing on this race, because we'll be under safety car for, I think, for another 4 or 5 laps, and then we will end up getting close to the 60-minute or 1 hour limit to this 40-lap race. We may get a few laps racing in towards the end. It's just a question of whether the medical team feel that they can withdraw Nari Shimoda sooner rather than later.
So in the meantime, everyone else just has to keep their focus and concentration and not be too distracted as well by the fact that there are medical cars out there. The drivers themselves in the cars will want to know, of course, that have the news that Shimoda is okay. Nothing worse for the drivers out there than to know that somebody has been hurt, but it's good news that he hasn't. It's just going to take some time, and so really their focus will now be on whether they, as you say, get to restart. We've had 48 minutes of this race. The 60-minute mark is the end of the race, no matter how many laps they've done. We saw that in the sprint race earlier when it was called after 30 minutes. The 60-minute maximum we're 12 minutes away from.
Yes, and also while the safety work is carried out, we're seeing the Team Canada, Sean McIntosh's car, that's on the exit of turn 9. That's also now going to be put on the back of a flatbed and taken back to the pit. So the opportunity's been given during this very severe yellow flag situation to pick up and tidy some of the other corners. We've not seen a car stop at turn 9. We've got, of course, Stephen Simpson's car, Team South Africa, off on the exit of 7. We've got China's car off at the exit of 2. So 4 cars that could actually be benefiting this event by having them removed to the safety of either back to the garages or certainly behind the safety walls around the circuit.
Malaysia running well in this race. They're on for a 5th place finish, and that would actually match the best that they've had so far. They were 5th in the feature race at the opening meeting of the year at Brands Hatch. And Alex Young definitely in good shape here this weekend, particularly with the Malaysian race coming up next on the calendar. It would be great to head in towards that next race with a strong top 5 finish. But don't forget that he's got the home nation here right behind him. He's still got Australia filling his mirror. So if the race does get to run in its final stages, I think we could be on for quite a tussle between those two countries.
Well, there's certainly going to be a lot of motor racing once this race gets back underway, and Malaysia particularly under pressure from Australia, both battling for the position, the points that go with that position. But bearing in mind, as you mentioned, going to Malaysia in 2 weeks' time, what a great opportunity for the Malaysian fans to come out and support their local hero, Alex Young.
Yes, that's right. He and Faraz Fawzi, who've both been sharing the drives a little bit this year, although last time out Fawzi had the drive to himself in Portugal, and Alex Young's had it to himself here in Australia. I wonder what they'll do in Malaysia, whether they'll share the drive, because they're both good drivers, both very, very capable, and maybe they'll do a race each when we go out to Malaysia. We'll have to wait and see.
So in the meantime, still the field runs behind the safety car. There's still a lot of work being carried out at the exit of turn 1, the scene of that extremely heavy accident for Team Japan, and Nari Shimoda, whose the reports we're getting back is that he's fine. He's just suffering probably from massive bruising, I would imagine, and just taking their time. Stabilisation, we mentioned, is the key to driver recovery in these situations, and if this race has to run out under safety car, well, that's the way it will run out. 11 laps to go.
Yep. And France looking for another win. I mean, what a tremendous run of success the French team is having at the moment. They're looking for their 6th victory, and it's not just 6 wins, it's 6 in a row as well, from 2 different drivers, from Nicolas Lapierre and Alexander Premat. They're also, of course, looking for getting a bit more prize money out of this race, because if they take another victory, well, they'll be on for another $300,000. They're the top money earners already. There is the safety crew doing its work nice and slowly, nice and steadily, and just making sure that everything's okay with Nari Shimoda. But he's out of the car now. You can see how the car has broken in two, but that's pretty much exactly what the car is designed to do.
Yes, when we saw the accident for the first time, obviously you look and think, my goodness, what a tremendous, horrendous accident. So let's have a look and say, well, look at that. You can see that was, I don't know what speed he was doing, but certainly probably still doing 120 or 30 miles an hour when he hit just the end of that tyre barrier. Fortunately, he just did hit the end of the tyre barrier and not the unprotected concrete barrier, which was just adjacent to where the car has come to a stop. Now, we don't know what caused that accident, whether it was contact with another car. We did see Team Canada has been looked down now from that view helicopter shot as Hanare Shimoda is removed to the ambulance and be taken to the Circuit Medical Centre. But to go back to the images that we saw of the car with the engine separated from the chassis, that's good, because what that does is dissipate so much energy that would otherwise be transmitted into the driver. So the more bits that come off, the more energy that is dissipated. The key in any accident is the survival cell, the part that the driver sits in, the monocoque we call it, full carbon fibre monocoque, and that looks like to me it stayed totally intact and really protected the driver in a way it was designed to do.
Yes, thankfully, even though he's being stretchered away, the news is good concerning the driver. I mean, he will be very, very sore after an impact like that. The sort of speeds that were involved there were immense, and the impact was very high. So maybe no broken bones. Well, you know, we don't know that for sure yet. But even if not, he will be very, very sore indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I've had impacts in different times in my career, and sometimes you end up with severe bruising, sometimes external bruising, other times internal. It's the internal bruising, of course, that's probably the most difficult thing to recover from, because you can't always see it, but it does cause a great deal of discomfort, and just a little bit of time, probably a few nights in hospital, just to allow him to recover in the security of that situation. We'll see Hanare Shimoda back on his legs again, and hopefully very shortly back as we look at that's what's left of Team Japan's A1 Grand Prix chassis.
Yes, not a great deal left of it in many ways, but as you say, the survival cell has remained intact, and that's the crucial part. But there's the engine and gearbox, the rear wheel,
yes,
one rear wheel attached.
Whatever way he went in backwards, and it was the right rear of the car that took the first initial impact, and that then you saw the explosion of dust and parts of the car, and then ultimately the engine gearbox unit detaching from the chassis, which undoubtedly, as I mentioned earlier, would have helped reduce the impact for the driver.
There are 6 minutes available still, as you can see the clock counting down. Just under 6 minutes to go in this race. It will definitely be checkered at the 1 hour mark. The question is whether we will get any racing in before then. There's still quite a lot of clearing up to do, and so whether we'll even get a lap in or not too sure at this stage. Ambulance heading off with Shimoda in the ambulance now, being taken off to the medical centre, and as that's happening, of course, they are doing their best to clear away the broken bits of car, get them out of harm's way, and perhaps they'll clear the track, but it's going to be a marginal thing.
And one of the other issues, of course, is the cars have been running around now for 7-8 laps. There'll be more behind the safety car. Tyre temperatures will be down, they'll be low, the tyre pressures will correspondingly have dropped down. So when this race, if it does get underway, everybody out there will have to be very, very careful, because they'll be effectively restarting this race on tyres in a condition. There will be a pickup as well on the surface of the tyre from the rubber that's come off from the previous laps, and any other would be rubbish and junk. As we look back and we can see what's going on. Now there's we catch the tail end of that incident, and well, that was a big impact.
It was a big impact. I think he did actually.
I think yes, he might have done.
He did hit the unprotected part of the concrete wall, in fact, and there you can see the damage to the car. But
the marshals there very quickly indeed. I mean, that was, and you'd see that there's movement in the cockpit. That's the first sign that any of the marshals. Now the marshals themselves are not allowed to touch a driver in these situations. It's only the medical delegates that can get in there and help the driver.
So across the line they come again to complete another lap. Little bits of rubber being thrown off.
Not little bits. There's large lumps of rubber. That's the pickup that occurs when you're running on a racing slick tyre and it's not running at racing temperature. There is rubber around the racetrack that gets picked up on the hot sticky rubber, and then it adheres to the surface of the tyre, and of course you get a huge out of balance when those bits start to fly off.
Just 3 minutes 50 seconds of the race to go. The clean-up operation still going on down there on the exit of turn number 1, where Hayanori Shimoda had a very, very big accident in the Japanese car. They've still got to remove the engine and gearbox section that split away from the rest of the monocoque. Weaving around at the back of the field is the Lebanon car in 14th place of Basil Shaban, who led at one stage before he made his pit stop and everyone else had made their pit stops. His moment of glory passed fairly quickly, but I'm sure he enjoyed his time at the front of the field. Get a taste for it, and he'll be wanting a lot more of it on board here, though, with Malaysia's driver Alex Young. He's on for a 5th place finish to match his best result of the season so far, and he'll be chasing home Netherlands and heading Australia at the current rate of progress. No question about who's been the dominant team and driver, though, this weekend. It's been France again. Nicolas Lapierre, he's ahead of Robbie Kerr on the road, and he's just been in supreme form. The whole team has been superb, and his race engineer Chris Gorn telling me earlier that he really, really rates this young man. He was the youngest ever winner of the Macau Formula 3 race, and it's just the way that he deals with the whole racing environment, not just in the car, but how he deals with the whole team. He's very impressed.
Well, he's a very tranquil guy. You see him in the pits. He's not, as some drivers are, they get very hyper when they're around a racetrack, when they're about to get into a car. So the lights are just...
The lights are out. Yeah, we are going to go racing here, John. We are going to get
just over 2 minutes remaining.
Yep, so we are going to get some racing underway here. Are Team France going to be under pressure here from Great Britain? Watch the restart this time. Lapierre has been brilliant on the restarts, and again he catches them out. He just decides when to go for it, and he's got that move totally sorted. And Robbie Kerr of Great Britain has a gap to deal with. Maybe all he's focused on is holding on to this 2nd place. That's what he's trying to protect now. Switzerland still in 3rd, the Netherlands in 4th. Now watch out for what's going on behind, because there could be some last gasp manoeuvres here.
Well, there are coming down the main street. You can see cars moving over to the left of track to defend, but Pakistan gets things better.
No, it's Ireland trying to get past Portugal, but they couldn't quite do it, could they?
Thought better of it, because on cold tires at the restart, you don't want to take that unnecessary risk.
New Zealand versus Brazil, that's for 9th place as well. The black car of New Zealand versus the green, yellow and white Brazilian entry. Right behind them, the American car. It's France still leading as they'll come around this time. I think they'll get one more lap in, probably, before they see the checkered flag as Verstappen of the Netherlands attacking Switzerland for 3rd place. We haven't seen Jos Verstappen on the podium yet, but he's got to find a way past the Swiss car if he's going to do it here.
Well, if Neil Yarney is feeling sick, he's had the opportunity to get a bit of a recovery for the last 8-9 laps running behind the safety car. All he has to do is make sure he doesn't make a mistake coming out of turn 12 onto that main straight. There's probably very little chance on Jos Verstappen is the man, in fact, that makes the error in turn 9.
Yeah, that drops him away again a little bit, so he's not really going to be in position to challenge. They will get this lap and one more. They'll be going on to their final lap when they come around this time, and it looks as though France are all set for victory, no doubt about that, unless Lapierre makes a huge mistake. Great Britain on the power boost, Switzerland on the power boost, Netherlands on the power boost. France doesn't even bother. He's got a big lead, and he's still got 5 power boosts available to him. Further behind, any moves going on. New Zealand under attack from Brazil. This could be for a potential pass, and this is for 9th.
And defence from New Zealand, they move from right over to the left. Piquet looks for Team Brazil. He's going to try and cut back, but going around the outside, as we've seen Team USA sneak down the inside, almost locks up and almost, in fact, gets involved in that battle, but he's a part of the battle himself. He's in 11th place, Brazil in 10th, and New Zealand 9th.
Great scratch still going on then for the final point here at Eastern Creek, but the race leader has drawn away once more. Still the Netherlands hounding Switzerland, wanting that position on the podium, but it's not going to happen surely unless Jos Verstappen pulls off some little miracle. That was a bit of a mistake from Yarni, but not a big one, and that doesn't drop him into the clutches of Jos Verstappen.
Well, the key corner coming up here is turn 9. If one of these two drivers gets it wrong, the advantage will fall, and it's
Robbie Kerr! Dear, oh dear, oh dear, he nearly got into big trouble there. Big slide, and he held it.
Well, I don't know why he needed to do that. He was not under pressure from Switzerland. It's Switzerland that's under pressure from the Netherlands, yet he outbraked himself, locked it up, skidded sideways, but recovered and is able to consolidate his 2nd place.
Here comes France to take victory number 6 of A1 Grand Prix, and Nicolas Lapierre has dominated proceedings in Australia. 2nd place goes to Great Britain. Oh, and everyone bunched up. And 3rd to Switzerland.
But Lapierre did what he did in the first race. He pulls off to the left, slows right down. Robbie Kerr, Team GBR, pulled across, and look at that, Lebanon delighted with their day's racing. They led this race on merit at one point, and that was a little sign of his pleasure.
I'll tell you why, he just got past India on that lap. Lebanon just sneaked past India on that last lap to take 13th position. India finished 14th.
Well, Nicolas Lapierre, the only thing he's done wrong today, I think, is that he locked up as he did in the first race. That's sort of the signal of pleasure from Team France. He didn't really anticipate that Team GBR had followed him over to the left-hand part of the track and had to make a smart move sharp right to avoid running into the back of Team France's winning car.
Chris Gall in the sunglasses and the whole French team really enjoying this moment. They have looked strong all weekend, but what beautifully judged races from Nicolas Lapierre. Despite, there were a couple of little issues he had to deal with sitting behind Portugal in the early stages. He caught Portugal. Then, of course, they had the drive-through penalty and it was easy. But the team, remember how much pressure they were on in the pit lane, because when he and Great Britain came in, they were virtually together, and the team turned him round, got him out ahead, and that was really one of the key moments in the race.
Very much so, and that's what this feature race is all about. It's not simply about a driver doing the job on the racetrack. It's about how you manage and you perfect the art of doing a pit stop. Alexander Premat, now he will be under pressure when he goes to Malaysia. No doubt he will be the driver in Team France's car. Nicolas Lapierre has now won 4 out of 4. Alexander Premat has won 2 out of 2 in terms of overall wins, not overall races. So Team France, once again, they're not just the ultimately dominant team, they are the team.
Yeah, they are the team to beat at the moment, and Nicolas Lapierre has shown them all the way home here. But second place for Great Britain, that matches their best finish of the season so far and gives them a tremendous boost in the championship as well. Switzerland on the podium once again, and Switzerland have been one of the most consistent performers, no doubt about that. The Netherlands finishing in 4th place, and that matches the best that Jos Verstappen has had. He was 4th last time out in Portugal. Malaysia 5th. Malaysia 5th ahead of Australia 6th, then Portugal 7th, and then Ireland, New Zealand and Brazil. So that's how the top 10 have finished here, with Neil Yarney bringing his car home in 3rd place, and still Lapierre celebrating his double victory and France's 6th win of the season. 6 wins on the trot. Remember, Brazil won the opening 2 rounds of the championship, but France have won every single race since then, which is just remarkable when you consider they're all the same cars, they're all identical, and yet the French team just have everything right. But there's Robbie Kerr to celebrate, finishing in 2nd place. A hard-fought 2nd place and well-deserved.
Yeah, see, he worked for it, although we've seen under the restarts, he's got to, if in situations in the future, hit with the restarts, a driver has to listen to what the car ahead of him is doing. He can't just react to what he sees. So Nicolas Lapierre, when he was making each of those restarts, was having to build up the revs to make that sprint away. And Robbie was not as sharp as some others maybe who would have been directly behind the French team and the Frenchman.
Is it the end of the road for Home Run Marge?
Marge is having an affair with Kirk.
In brand new Simpsons.
Get out of this house!
It's a cruel world in Football Icon. I'm going home. But for the lucky 12,
congratulations,
it couldn't get any better. Whilst in Dream Team,
you have no rights.
It's time for a few home truths.
I own you.
Tomorrow night starts with Simpsons at 6:30, followed by Football Icon at 7 and Dream Team at 8. That's tomorrow night, Sky 1.
Welcome. A drink?
Carlsberg don't do takeaways, but if they did, they'd probably be the best takeaways in the world.
This has got to go.
You shouldn't have to wait to skate. New Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. The first skating game with no loading screens. Tony Hawk's American Wasteland.
Like great gifts, love DVD box sets with The West Wing.
You're relieved, Mr. President.
The OC, and many more available now at fantastic prices.
Greg, we're going to get some pills for the weekend. You in?
It's decision time. Greg, do you say yes? You agree to an E, put it to the test and hope for the best? Or do you say no? What's the use? Find an excuse. You decide.
Under pressure to do drugs? Talk to Frank.
Welcome back to Eastern Creek, Sydney, where A1 Grand Prix made its mark on Australia. Victory for France once more with another double win. Plenty of other talking points too to what was a dramatic feature race. We'll get there in just a moment, but that is the result from the feature race today. Nicolas Lapierre started on pole, finished on pole for France. Robbie Kerr, impressive from him today, and Team GBR in second spot. Neil Liani of Switzerland, consistent throughout the course of the weekend, finishing third. Jos Verstappen in fourth. Certainly the main talking point, though, of that feature race involving the Japanese driver Hayanari Shimoda on his debut as well for Team Japan after they missed Portugal, and for Shimoda, quite some debut, and we do know that he is all right. He is okay out of that particular crash, and we'll keep you updated on his situation. But let's get reaction from my studio guest, Keith Ewan, and from Andy Prix. That was quite some crash, wasn't it, Keith?
I'll tell you what, at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's a lot to take in as far as we're concerned. Today's been a dramatic race, but I mean, that was one of the biggest motorsports accidents I've seen, certainly of this year. Shimoda, I mean, he hit a solid concrete barrier backed up by tons and tons of earth. I mean, really missed the gravel trap altogether. We obviously can't see how he found himself in such trouble, but that's a 250 kilometres an hour corner. He's gone straight across the grass. Fortunately, he's moving, but of course, in these circumstances, John Watson, our commentator, said, you know, internal injuries are something that you can't cater for immediately in these circumstances. He's gone in with such a whack. And it's a nightmare type of crash to survive. Fortunately, that is the case. I mean, the tub of the car will be destroyed. You know, that Zytec engine is going nowhere for the moment. But when you've had an impact that hard, it's knocked all the sense out of him. They did absolutely the right thing in taking their time to get him out. But
they did. I mean, you just don't know, as I say, internal injuries, you know, and the impact was massive. It was 250 plus. I mean, all credit to the car. It's in one piece in terms of the monocoque and the driver's cell. The engine separated from the monocoque. There was no fire, you know, from a safety point of view, but it's the impact that really causes the damage.
As we know, the Japanese driver all right at the moment. That's how we understand his position and situation to be. We'll update you when we know more. But let's talk about the positive aspects of that feature race. And Keith, talk us through the beginning, because there are quite a few changes taking place there.
Well, the start was the main thing as far as this feature race is concerned, because again, it was one of those situations where coming down into turn one, you can see everyone jockeying for a bit of an opportunistic position. Andy, Robbie Kerr did brilliantly here in my view.
Absolutely. I think, you know, Piquet got a good start, but Robbie made a really great lunge up the inside into the first. Here we go now, passing Piquet and literally making an opportunist move, which really won him the second place today. It was a very good opportunity.
Unlucky for the Irish though, he found himself on the outside of that little manoeuvre and down into the dirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at that, just jinxed himself to the inside.
This is him challenging Piquet, absolutely, and then suddenly now up the inside on the brakes. Beautiful, beautiful move. What I would say about the start actually is that I don't think Parente jumped the start. I just think that Lapierre made a very bad start.
So a bit of a reference there to Parente getting a drive-through penalty for a jump start, and it did look to me like there were one or two people that were rolling right at the very start. I don't think Parente was really that drastic. But Parente here coming in for his drive-through, and at the same time it looked like France were going to take their pit stop in behind, but then deciding to jink back out into the racing line, and well, a smart move from Lapierre there, decides to stick in a couple of quick laps. Then this manoeuvre particularly, GB and France coming in, the battle of the two big guns of Europe. And really, we've seen our team GB, John Surtees' team, very, very fast off the mark in pit lane, but likewise the Dams team, one of the best there are in the business, and they were almost equal, Andy.
This was Robbie's big opportunity to overtake, because it wasn't going to happen on track. France have been in a league of their own this weekend. Unfortunately for GBR, didn't quite benefit there from the pit stop, which is a shame for Robbie.
Well, Team GB looking pretty good in the pit start, but the restart here, I mean, I think Robbie's been very, very slack on the restart situation, hasn't he? They've always dropped him from a restart. Why do you think that is, Andy?
I think Lapierre is very intelligent, very clever. He's done, you know, several restarts this season already. and he just got the jump on Robbie. It is very difficult when you're following another car to know when the car in front is about to go. This is interesting, that Lebanese driver, this is only his second season of racing, he's finding himself at the sharp end of the grid. Quite daunting, I would think, from his point of view.
Great from the team's point of view, though. Team Lebanon leading another A1 GP race for the first time, and again, just making themselves, shall we say, a little bit of a large obstacle for Robbie Kerr to get by. And again, he didn't quite pinch it when he really needed to if he was going to stay with France.
This was all down to the restart. Lapierre got the jump and passed the Lebanese driver, and poor Robbie here stuck behind him for a lap. You know, he's a lot slower, but it's a really difficult circuit to overtake.
And all the time, France meandering away into the distance.
OK, gentlemen, thanks very much for the moment. Coming up, the final thoughts of Andy and Keith as we look back on what has been an action-packed race day from Eastern Creek. 1, 2 and 3, though, enjoying their moment.
They're unbeaten in 40 games. For United, 8 times Premiership champions, it's a must-win.
Absolutely brilliant. He scores. What drama.
That's world class. The big one. Man United Chelsea. Ford Super Sunday, tomorrow at 3, Sky Sports 1.
Take your music everywhere. The BMW 1 Series. With an iPod connection. Every one is full of surprises.
Do you feel lucky?
Well, do you, punk?
Yeah, I do actually.
Great!
What you put in this vase? Excuse me? What's wrong with your face? What does that stuff actually smell like? How long are you going to feel like that for?
If you've got questions about drugs, talk to Frank.
Buy one DVD and get another free at HMV.
Welcome to my life.
Pick up the double disc Constantine and get the epic 2-disc Alexander free.
When it's over, all that matters is what you've done.
Choose from a huge range of double featured DVDs. Or take home Sahara.
I found the coin.
And get the outrageous Meet the Fockers.
Get the photo album. No, we're not having fun.
Nice all of us being here together, isn't it, Jen?
Buy one DVD and get another free at HMV. Top dog for DVD.
They were warriors who fought for their faith, but died deceived. This was the epic struggle of devotion and deception. They were promised heaven, but found themselves in hell. The Crusades starts tomorrow on the History Channel.
It's a fight between good and evil. Your fate and that of the world lies in the hands of one person.
Hiya! I'm looking for the man with the pointy ears.
Oh, right. Do you mean Kevin?
No, he's a superhero.
Yeah, okay.
He's climbing. Oh, I'm always climbing buildings, me. I'm like...
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Thanks.
Get the right game this Christmas. Send your mum to Game Station. Plus, till 5:30 Saturday, November 12th, you can save £18 on our Steal of the Week, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Orange. But I like orange. Coffee.
Welcome back. Team France looked invincible going into race day and they didn't let themselves down. Nicolas Lapierre taking it away. Started on pole, finished on pole. Let's hear from 1, 2 and 3. They've been speaking to Lee McKenzie.
Nicolas Lapierre, Team France, make it 6 from 6. Plenty of action out there. It probably wasn't the start that you normally get. Just tell us what happened with you and Parenti.
I mean, my start was not too bad, but I was quite surprised to see Alvaro on the left so soon, you know. But then my team told me he had to stop and go, so just because his start was just normal, you know. But I made a bit of a mistake on first corner because the track was very dirty and I just slowed down too much. So Nesino get past me on the first corner, but then I overtook him on the braking on corner second. So it was okay because we were in front of him, which is very important for us. And then it was a very good race, very exciting, a lot of safety car, but anyway, it was very nice.
You had lots of opportunity to practice your restarts with the safety cars out there. You seem to have perfected them. Is it easier from the front, or are the guys just not keeping up with you behind?
You know, I don't know. It just went right, you know. It's not easy, but yeah, I think I had a good strategy. We had like 5 safety cars today, so I just had to get good, you know, after safety car, because it's not easy with push to pass, you can be passed, but it went all right.
Nicolas, thanks very much for the moment. Robbie Kerr, Team Great Britain. It was an exciting time at the end for you. I'm not quite sure if you'd say that. Lock up, you nearly lost a place.
We had a lock up on the last lap, but I knew Neil was a little bit too far behind to do much about it, and I just made sure I got good drive out the corner, and it was all okay. But no, it was a interesting race for us. We got a reasonable start, but a couple of people got a slightly better start. They went to the outside of the first corner, I went to the inside, and we came away in front, and I managed to get Neil into the second corner, sorry, and then I was just chasing down Nelson.
Yeah, they had a great move past Nelson, and from then on, when you got to the front, it was really just holding your own.
It was. Nelson gave me room, which was very fair of him, going into the first corner. And then it was just a case of keeping consistent pace. In the first stint, we were equal to France, but in the second stint, after the pit stops, our tyres weren't in quite as good a condition as theirs, and so we were just struggling a little bit for grip.
Andy, is there a small part of you that slightly regrets what happened with Robbie Kerr? Even though he did finish second in this feature race, he had so many opportunities, didn't he, to try and pip Lapierre?
And I think Robbie will be taking the podium and saying great, using it for good PR, but I know deep down inside he'll be thinking about these restarts. He'll be going over and over in his mind, why is he getting the jump on me? Because I know I would be thinking that way.
Was it because Lapierre was too good, or that Robbie just wasn't quite up to it?
Bit of both. You need to anticipate these things. You need to be an opportunist and sometimes anticipate the jump. But I think Lapierre was playing all the games, pretending he was warming up his tyres and then accelerating and then braking maybe and using it to his advantage, which you need to do. But it is tough to make a good restart. But he could have won the race if he made a good restart.
Keith, Lapierre impressive, of course, today, as we pretty much expected. But who else impressed you today?
I think Robbie Kerr is back on track as far as I'm concerned, and he'll know what his mistakes were as far as today is concerned. The racing driver will be sitting back, analysing everything that's going on. But for me, you know, Eastern Creek is over and done with. It was a difficult track for just about everybody. We now move on to 2 proper tracks, Malaysia, Sepang, and of course Dubai. So it's going to be a fantastic couple of rounds we've got going into the winter.
Look forward to it, chaps. Thanks very much indeed. Live football is coming up for you on Sky Sports. Our Super Sunday match coming live from Old Trafford as Manchester United take on Premiership leaders Chelsea. That's at 3 p.m. on Sky Sports 1. A chance to see highlights from today's A1 Grand Prix from Sydney, 8 a.m. on Sky Sports Extra, again at 1 p.m. on Sky Sports 1. A1 Grand Prix. Next up, of course, is Malaysia. So it took 3 Boeing 747s to get A1 Grand Prix here. And for Team France, it was a journey well worth it.